Aguero, Solskjaer, Deeney, Watkins. Sure, you know all about those last-minute goals, but have you heard the one about the on-loan goalkeeper who saved his temporary employers from disappearing out the Football League and into almost certain financial oblivion? Back in 1999, Carlisle United, managed by Nigel Pearson, were fighting to stay in the Football League. Carlisle's finances were precarious with a capital P that season, leading to a scenario where, with 3 games to go, they had to ask the FA to sanction an emergency loan deal to bring in a goalkeeper. Swindon Town's Jimmy Glass arrived at the club. His efforts in his first 2 games earned the Cumbrians 2 draws. Those vital points meant that Carlisle went into their final game of the Division 3 season, now League 2, needing to beat mid-table Plymouth Argyle in front of their own fans and hope their relegation rival Scarborough didn't win against Peterborough at home. The game at the McCain Stadium finished 1-1, and with the same scoreline at Brunton Park deep into injury time, Scarborough's fans invaded the pitch en masse, believing their Football League status was secure, convinced they'd done enough to stay up. However, there'd be one more plot twist. Carlisle won a corner in the dying seconds, and up came Jimmy Glass. In one of those you couldn't make it up moments, Glass scored from a rebounded header and was promptly swamped by teammates and thousands of fans who quite simply couldn't believe what they'd just witnessed. As for Jimmy Glass, he became an overnight celebrity, but he never played for Carlisle again, and his playing career never really kicked on after that defining moment. He took on various jobs outside of football before finding his way back into the sport as player liaison officer at Eddie Howe's Bournemouth, and most recently the general manager at non-league Wimborne. Not the fairy tale ending to one of the most Hollywood moments in football, but the name Jimmy Glass will live on forever as the scorer of that goal, arguably the most important in any club's history.
On the show tonight, Rob Edwards even has been confirmed as Wolves' new head coach, leaving Middlesbrough after just 3 months. We'll talk about that, as we will with Thomas Tuchel, who spoke to the media ahead of the clash with Serbia tomorrow night and revealed the bombshell that Kane, Foden and Bellingham cannot play together in the current structure. We'll see if Alan agrees with that. We'll also cross over to the Chris Eubank Jr. Conor Benn public workout. That's taking place in Canary Wharf. Get the latest from our boxing expert Gareth A. Davies. We'll also discuss Howard Webb's explanation of why Andy Robertson's goal was disallowed on Sunday against Manchester City. And for 1 hour only, our very own Alan is going to be the England gaffer. So he's going to be telling us just exactly what to do with this England team, what Thomas Tuchel should be looking out for in these remaining games ahead.
Without the salary, by the way. I don't want to interrupt, but...
There's no pay rise.
No.
But you're doing it for the good of talkSPORT.
For the love of the game.
For the love of the game, indeed. And we'll also be talking about who Alan thinks is a dead cert for the World Cup too. You can get in touch with the show as always. You can text us at 81089, WhatsApp us, leave us a WhatsApp voice note as well to 03717 223344, or you can call us on that number too and have a chat with us. This is Kick Off on talkSPORT. How are you doing, Alan?
I'm very well. How are you, Nat?
Yeah, I'm all right too, thank you.
Good.
Yeah, pleasure to be here this evening and looking forward to a nice show. I hope you're looking forward to being the gaffer. Yeah? Have you missed being a gaffer?
Well, of course you miss being a gaffer. You know, it's when it's been so big part of your life. You miss the training ground mostly.
Yes.
You know, that's the day-to-day kind of running of the training ground, the camaraderie, the spirit, the love that you get. That you miss that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I can imagine.
You can get on the golf course, you get a little bit of it, but it's not quite the same.
No, certainly not. And I suppose, especially if you've gone from as being a player into management as well, you're so used to that dressing room banter and everything else that goes with it. So
yeah, absolutely.
Quite a shift for anyone, I'm sure, who comes out of it. But we'll talk about a current manager, shall we? Rob Edwards, who has now completed his move to Wolves to become their new head coach, leaving Middlesbrough, who were doing pretty well in the Championship, it has to be said, and he only signed for them in the summer. Lots of, obviously, the differing views on this move for him. Obviously, lots of Borough fans and those within the Borough hierarchy not happy with the fact that he has effectively jumped ship as quick as he has. Where do you stand on it? Which side of the fence would you be on? Do you understand what he's done, or do you also understand where Borough are coming from?
Yeah, well, I understand both parties. I've been involved with both sides of that argument, I think. I'm a little bit surprised because, you know, in terms of what he's inheriting and the position Wolves are in the league, he's taken on a big job there. He's already got a relegation on his CV with Luton from the Premier League. I think he finished his contract before they went down to the the Championship.
Yeah.
But nevertheless, that's in there. And now he's going to Wolves. And, I've seen them in the last two games. So I was at Fulham when they really played poorly. And then Chelsea, where they did a little bit better. The few of the sort of senior players come back in. And he's going to have to really lean on those. Andre and Gomez in particular, Larson at the top of the pitch. So, but still, if I was sitting there saying, will this team stay in the division? I can't see it. So he's got a hell of a job. And whether he's been promised funds in January, I think they have got some room for manoeuvre in terms of the financial restrictions on them are not great. So they should be able to do some business. They're going to need to do some business. On the other hand, what he's left, what has he left? He's left a team that, really competitive in the Championship, good club, looking to get promoted, to go back to Wolves where he had played, where he was a coach, and that emotional pull, I think, swayed it for him. Because if he was going to be logical about it, and if I was his agent, I'd have said stay at Middlesbrough. But emotionally, I think, has driven it.
Yeah, so for you, and we've got a guest that we're going to speak to in just a moment, even though Wolves are in the Premier League, for you that shouldn't have mattered because of, I get you're talking about the emotional connection, but in terms of just his job, Middlesbrough are in a better position than when Wolves are at right now.
Well, I think when you've got a club and a team that's playing well and you've settled in and it's going really, really well for you, that's not always the case as a manager. When it kicks off like that, usually it ends with some kind of success. You can have an indifferent start, you can have a poor start, then it's very difficult to get it going. But once you go in and it's all going well and the players have bought into what you're thinking and the team are playing well, the hierarchy have kind of fallen for you, that's a great position to be in. And he's walked away from that to walk into a Wolves team that really dysfunctional, a lot of international players. I think they carry the least British contingent in the squad of any club in the Premier League.
Right.
So he's got a lot of international players, different religions, different spoken word. So to communicate what he's got to get across the line and to save them and fight and put the fight in them, it's a really tough ask. I see I see a TikToker walking into the stadium today, into the training ground.
Right, yes.
Greeting his old friends that he'd obviously met when he was working there before. I think the secretary looked familiar with him and a few others and ladies at the training ground, etc. So he's going to get a nice welcome, and that's a normal thing for clubs to do now, isn't it? Do that sort of PR introduction.
Everything's happy.
Yeah, everyone's happy. Here we go.
Well, let's get another perspective on this.
By the way, I just want to say I do like Rob. I think he's a really good manager, and what he did at Luton was terrific. So although I've been certainly negative about what he's done, I do think he's got a good future in the game.
But you're just thinking of his career aspect.
Correct. Yeah.
At this present moment.
Yeah.
Well, let's speak to the Wolves reporter for The Athletic, Steve Madeley, who joins us to give us a bit more meat on the bones to this story. Steve, great to have you with us. Thank you very much for joining us. First of all, maybe just give us the context around the appointment of Rob Edwards. Would he have been their first choice, or have they been looking elsewhere?
They've looked around quite a lot. I mean, it's no secret that they flirted with the idea of bringing Gary O'Neill back less than a year after they sacked him, which would have been an interesting move and probably one that wouldn't have gone down very well with the fans. I think Rob Edwards probably was the first choice from the credible available candidates that they had, because they clearly wanted to go back to a more British model. But I mean, it's hard to ignore the fact that Wolves, I guess, wouldn't have been the most attractive job given the position that they're in at the moment. So the pool of candidates was probably fairly limited. But having said that, there are a lot of good reasons why they've chosen Rob Edwards.
What would they be then?
I think they know him well. They really rate him highly as a coach. He's obviously got 2 promotions on his CV, which, if Wolves are where it looks like they're going to be next season, then that's a good thing to have, I guess. And his reputation in the game of being a really kind of progressive, positive, up and coming young manager. So I think Wolves have always kind of kept an eye on him since he was there in a coaching role. They've always wanted to appoint him. I guess this wouldn't have been the situation they would have chosen to appoint him in an ideal world, but there rarely is an ideal world, I guess, in football.
No, it's not an ideal world, that's for sure. The Gary O'Neill one was interesting to me because I'm not sure if he's actually been terminated in terms of his contract, i.e. had they paid, did they do the financial deal? Was that appointment because he was still being paid by the club? Do you have any kind of insight into whether Gary was completely finished at Wolves in terms of his salary?
I'm not sure about the contract position, if I'm honest. I mean, I think again, it seemed like an absurd one. It was an absurd one because I think I'm probably in a minority among people who watch Wolves a lot, but I think Gary O'Neill potentially could go on to be a really good manager. But I found the idea that he could possibly go back to Wolves, given the toxicity that would have come with it after how it ended. I'm not sure that would have been a great move for Wolves, and I'm not sure it would have been a great move for Gary either, because he would have walked straight back into a toxic situation when he's got the chance to go and rebuild his career, which I think could go on to be a really good career somewhere other than Wolves, where it didn't end very well.
They are bottom, obviously, Wolves, as you know, without a win yet this season, 8 points from safety. And, you know, we're only, 11 games played. So many people are already saying Wolves are down, but there's still a lot of points to be won. Do you think he's going to get money in January to bolster his squad? Because there have been a lot of departures and not as many incomings of late at Wolves.
I think there's potentially money available. As Alan said a minute ago, Wolves are quite well off in terms of their PSR position. They made a net profit on transfers in the summer, so there will be flexibility there, not to spend a load of money, but to tweak the squad and move things around and bring in some of those kind of the slightly more battle-hardened, maybe British-based people with experience of the Premier League, because they signed 6 players in the summer, none of whom have got a single minute of Premier League football under their belt. I think the interesting thing will be, I think there are 9 games to go before the transfer window opens. Now, obviously, Wolves will hope that Rob Edwards gets a bit of a bounce as a new manager, but if he doesn't, and they're in basically a completely hopeless position by the start of January, then they've got some big calls to make, haven't they? Do you throw good money after bad at trying to salvage a pretty unsalvageable situation, or do you take kind of the hard-nosed business call and say, we're going to start preparing for next summer, we're not going to spend any money in January? Now, if I'm a Wolves season ticket holder who's paid my season ticket, or I've bought my shirt, or I've invested money in this season, then I'm not going to be very happy with that call if that's the one they make. But there would be a business call, a business case for making that call. But obviously, Wolves will hope that they're not in that position, and that Rob Edwards can make a bit of an impact, and they get 3 or 4 wins between now and then. At which point, then it probably is worth investing in the squad and having a real good go at staying up.
Well, I just want to come back to, this kind of thinking of like, we'll just go down and bounce back isn't as simple as that. And you've only got to look at the percentage of clubs who go down, don't come back. In fact, it's very, very difficult, and Ipswich are finding that out this year. That kind of philosophy isn't something that
all 3 that went down are not in the reckoning right now.
And obviously, Rob's old team, Luton, look what happened to them after they got relegated. So I hope that's not in their thinking. And I'm sure as Wolves fans as well, they're definitely in this window, wherever he gets 2 wins, even if he gets 2 wins between now and then, should invest and should try and give him some kind of armoury to stay in the division.
Yeah.
Very, very important.
I'm sure it wouldn't be in their thinking as we sit here today. I'm just kind of painting the picture that there could be a situation potentially if the next 9 games don't go well, when it's a completely hopeless situation. And of course, there are no guarantees of coming back, but there might be a virtual guarantee of relegation at the start of January if the next 9 games don't go well. And at that point, is it worth spending the money, or do you get everything lined up to have the best chance you can next summer?
Steve, it's been a pleasure. Thank you for joining us this evening. Great to have your insight in all of that. I'm going to quickly roll off these 9 fixtures one by one, and you can tell me if you think they'll get points out of them. So their next game after the international break is at home to Crystal Palace.
Good luck.
Okay. Then they're away to Aston Villa.
Who are in sparkling form.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so 0 points so far, I think. Forest at home.
Possible.
Okay. Then they've got Man United at home.
Possible.
Okay. Then they head to Arsenal.
Tricky.
Okay. Then they host Brentford.
Possible.
Okay. Then they've got 2 away games to complete 2025, Liverpool and Manchester United again.
Yeah, I mean, those 3 games that we are kind of highlighted there, particularly the home games, are going to be essential for them. And, he is going to get a bounce with the crowd. And I think, that will be important for him and the team. That the reaction of the stadium is like, right, come on, we got somebody we know and trust in. Let's give this a good old go. And that stadium and that support is ferocious when it gets going. So I mean, if he can get to 11 points by Boxing Day, then he's got an outside chance. But it's still very, very difficult. So he has 2 at the moment. It's a really tough climb for him.
Yeah. We'd love to hear from you Wolves fans and how you feel about the situation. Maybe less so about the appointment, but do you think this is maybe, as Steve suggested there, by the time January comes around, if it looks as though you're already down, do you invest? Are you resigned to the fact you are already going down? Or do you think with the new manager bounce, you might see an upturn in form?
But, if you've got the room, right, that window is an opportunity, really. Okay, you might have to pay slightly over the odds because it's the January window, but you could still buy players for the relegation mode if that was to happen. Because
you can't give up in January.
No, but what I'm saying is it still gives you the chance to stay in the division. Plus, you carry them over into the Championship. You buy wisely with players that have experience of the Premier League or Championship, rather than going, let's go and buy this young player out of France again, or this young player out of Portugal. Come on. I mean, they've done that model really needs to be looked at Wolves, because although they've had some great success, that was mainly when Mendes was involved. And he's now taken these players out of there. Cunha,
indeed,
one of the ones.
As I say, get in touch. We would love to hear from you, Wolves fans, as we would Middlesbrough fans too. And now that the news is all confirmed, how are you feeling about it all? 03717 223344. That's the number you can call us on. Also, you can WhatsApp us and leave us a voice note on there. We'd love to hear from you. And don't forget, the talkSPORT Daily podcast is available right now, where Ali McCoist and Jeff Stelling discuss whether loyalty in football is at an all-time low. That might have a little link to Rob Edwards as well. You're tuning in to kick off on talkSPORT with Ladbrokes. It's 18 and over. BeGambleAware.org. Sawyer with you as we take you through to the sports bar. Don't forget, we want to hear from you Wolves fans, Middlesbrough fans too, on what you make now that it is all confirmed that Rob Edwards has taken over at Molineux, leaving the Riverside after just a few months in charge. We would love to hear from you, and you don't even have to be a Middlesbrough or Wolves fan. You might just have an opinion on it. We'd love to hear from you, as we will a little bit later on when we bring you maybe Alan, well, being the gaffer for an hour, being the England gaffer, we'd like you to pose your questions to him, all important questions ahead of the World Cup, what you would like him, not kind of like Thomas Tuchel really, what you would expect Thomas Tuchel to do, but through the eyes of Alan ahead of that World Cup. But right now it's time for us to bring you an odds update with Ladbrokes.
Odds update on talkSPORT with Ladbrokes. Get a free bet every week of the season and a big boost every day. That's Ladisfaction. Minimum £5 bet. Conditions apply.
Yeah, very well. Thank you. Good to have you with us. Let's get straight to it, really. And now that Rob Edwards is in at Wolves, it means there's a vacancy at Middlesbrough. So have you got the odds on perhaps who can take over there?
Yeah, it needs a bit of breaking down this. I think just listening to you guys there. So, I mean, first of all, Wolves to be relegated, they're 1-8 now in the betting. They started the season at 4-1. Rob Edwards' arrival has done nothing to the betting there. They've not changed at all, for better or worse. It does look like they're destined for the drop. In terms of Middlesbrough, they're still 13-8 to go up, and we actually make it 2-1. That the pair cross somewhere along the way. So Borough up and Wolves down this season is a 2-1 shot with Ladbrokes. As for who gets the Borough job, I think this is one you're going to have to bear with us on. I think there's no clear front runner. There's some interesting names in here, and I feel like the market could run for a while. Steven Gerrard is current favourite at 5-2. Gary O'Neill 3-1. We've got Adi Viviesh 4-1. Brendan Rodgers and Gareth Southgate are 6-1. Carlos Corberán 7-1, Tony Mowbray 8-1. I feel like minus a couple of names. I feel like this could be the next manager market for any top half championship club right now. It's wide open, no clear favourite. I'm not confident in any of those names right now, but there are some big ones in there.
Okay, all right. One to look out for, certainly, then. And talkSPORT will bring you all the breaking news as soon as we get it on who will be the permanent boss at Middlesbrough. There is some Women's Champions League football taking place, and a certain Mary Earps is playing for PSG this evening, taking on her former club, Manchester United, in the Champions League. So how do you see this game?
Yeah, she had a bit of a stinker a month or so ago. She conceded 6 against Lyon in France. She'll be hoping she doesn't do that tonight, of course, on a homecoming, I guess you could call it. United are 40-1 to win 6-0. United, so far so good. This competition, they've played 2-1-2. PSG have lost both of their games. A couple of 1-0 wins for United, and in the same time, PSG have conceded 6 goals. So they've got it all to do. It's around the 1-2 mark. United are here. PSG just over 4-1. The draw is 3-1. I mentioned that 6-goal sort of thrashing PSG had recently. It is 3 clean sheets in a row for them in all competitions. I can't say I'm expecting a bag of goals tonight. I do think the hosts get the job done. I like the Man United to win 1-0 or 2-0. Bit of a boring one, appreciate, but both of those scorelines are 6-1 shots. I think it should be a fairly simple home win.
Okay. Do you think England could replicate the 5-0 win over Serbia like they had in the last international break?
Yeah, I mean, it's 16-1. I think this will be the third 5-0 in a row in this campaign, right?
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, look, you can only beat what's in front of you. It's all been pretty convincing so far. I feel like that win last time against Serbia was a bit of a turning point. Everything was a bit slow and underwhelming under Thomas Tuchel, and all of a sudden it's 13 goals in 3 games. And as I say, 5-0 again is a 16-1 shot. England massive favourites, 2-7. Serbia 9-1. The draw 5-1. I think you can, what are we now, 2 games away from a whole campaign without conceding a goal? That looks more likely to happen with every passing game. So England to keep a clean sheet. If Harry Kane starts, he's odds on, just a shade of odds on, around evens to score at any point. I would say England to win both halves, just as they did in the reverse fixture. England both halves, keep a clean sheet, and Harry Kane to score. That bet builder is around 4-1.
All right, Alex, thank you very much. You'll be able to find out if England can pull off another 5-0 victory live with us tomorrow night here on talkSPORT. And that was a look at the latest odds with Ladbrokes. It's 18 and over, begambleaware.org.
Odds update on talkSPORT with Ladbrokes. Get a free bet every week of the season and a big boost every day. That's Ladisfaction. Minimum £5 bet. Conditions apply. 18 plus gambleaware.org.
OK, on the way next, we're going to take you to Canary Wharf, where the public workouts are taking place for the Conor Benn and Chris Eubank Jr. workouts then ahead of their big fight this weekend. That's coming next.
When was the last time you saw someone score with a knuckleball free kick? We're going to take a look at why we're not seeing them anymore and explain a bit about how they work. The knuckleball peaked in the 2010s after that Ronaldo strike against Portsmouth in 2008 inspired academy players everywhere. Here's a young Mason Mount.
I tried to base my free kick on Ronaldo, hit the ball by the valve and it moves. So what do you do? Top corner.
Now, no ball is perfectly aerodynamic, so as it travels it creates ever-changing pockets of turbulent air, causing that unpredictable movement. Football's most prolific free kick taker, Juninho Pernambucano, perfected the technique but didn't invent it. He was inspired by players from the 90s and even the 50s. So how do you do it? You have to hit the ball head on with as short a contact time as possible so the ball doesn't spin. Hitting by the valve helps with that short contact time as it's the hardest part of the football. So why don't we see knuckleballs much anymore? It's because players are being told not to shoot from dead ball situations because the XG is so low. In fact, as Opta shows here, since the 08-09 season there's been a 10% reduction in players shooting from free kicks in the Premier League. And in 23-24, a record low of 11 free kicks found the back of the net. And the knuckleball, though spectacular, is imprecise, which is why it's becoming
tuning in to kick off on talkSPORT with Alan Pardew and Natalie Sawyer. We're with you until 10 this evening with the Sports Bar taking over with Jamie O'Hara and Jason Cundy. We're focusing right now on the hotly anticipated boxing rematch between Chris Eubank Jr. and Conor Benn, which takes place on Saturday night on talkSPORT, and you can watch it live only on DAZN.
I'm neither mind nor thought. I cannot be heard or cast into thought, nor by sight or smell ever caught. In light and wind I am not found, nor yet in earth and sky. Consciousness and joy incarnate, bliss of the blissful am I. The purpose of it is always that we are entertaining the public.
He's here! Both guys here! Going for it! So
I have nothing to say to Nigel. I find the man intolerable in that he's so wild.
all I wanted to do was rip his head off. After an atmosphere and a contest like this, they surely have to do it again. What did my son want to do? Rip his head off.
Sympathy, then his toenail, sympathy, the ambulance, sympathy.
One of the toenails on my big toe fell off.
When is he going to understand? Nobody cares.
These rivalries do tend when they share their souls in the ring for our entertainment.
Never seen anything like this!
The souls and the spirits entwined forever.
Yeah, it's geared up nicely, isn't it? Especially with the wordsmith that was Chris Eubank there. And I'm sure you could have done your own poem just as well.
That monologue was very, very impressive. I was like, what? Where was it going? I didn't quite make any sense of it, but I enjoyed it.
Yeah. Oh, I'm with you.
I enjoy him anyway. I think the last word he used there, entertainment. He is entertainment.
Yes.
And will he turn up late in his fur coat again in the back? Well,
exactly that. All of these questions and more, I'm sure, will be answered for you on Saturday. Let's take you live now to Canary Wharf, where the public workouts have been taking place. talkSPORT's Gareth A. Davies and Spencer Oliver are there for us. Evening to you, gents. Before we talk about this fight, I know there's some breaking news just reaching you with regards to Anthony Joshua. What can you tell us?
That's right, Natalie. Evening, pods. You can see Chris Eubank working out behind us. Massive news about Anthony Joshua. Spencer and I have been digesting the fact that it's been put out there by Ring Magazine, and they're normally they have a lot of veracity in their stories on X, that he is fighting Jake Paul in December. I'll be quite honest about this, and Spencer knows Anthony really well. I am very shocked because I don't think it does a great deal for his legacy, Spencer.
No, listen, guys, we were very shocked by this breaking news that Anthony Joshua is going to be boxing Jake Paul in December, because we all thought it was about that journey to winning the World Heavyweight Championship for the third time and going down in the history books. We thought he was going to have a warm-up fight before going into a big fight, maybe in the summer with Tyson Fury, and it now appears that he's chosen the Jake Paul fight over that dream of becoming a freeweight world champion, which is big news to me as well, by the way. Is it good? Does it damage his legacy? Possibly yes at this stage.
There's a secondary thing before you guys come back to us. This should not be commissioned. Jake Paul is the level of an area champion. He might not even win an area title in the UK. Anthony Joshua is a very dangerous heavyweight. They're going to Florida because it'll be in Miami. They're a very lenient commission. This fight should not be licensed. It's dangerous for Jake Paul.
Guys, may I just add to that we do not know whether this is going to be sanctioned as a professional contest or whether it'll be an exhibition.
They won't allow it.
Off the top of my head, I personally think it's going to be an exhibition.
What do you think about it, guys?
Well, I'm just saddened, really. I think it tells you everything about the direction of Anthony Joshua's career, really. You're going to be fighting someone who has done very well in boxing, we know, in his Netflix fights and everything else that he's done with Jake Paul, but I'm not in favour of it. It's, again, one of those fights I'm not interested in seeing. Alan?
Well, firstly, good evening, Gareth Spencer. It's nice to see. I like Spencer when he's jockeying. He's always jockeying, that boy. Listen, this fight doesn't make any sense to me. It's a career move. If you wanted to have a career in heavyweight boxing, again, I think he literally has like gone, well, okay, I'm going to take this money earner, and kind of it's a promotion, I would guess. But it's not going to be a promotion to a world heavyweight fight again, I don't think. What do you think, guys? Do you think he could take this fight and still carry on?
No, it's nothing more than a money heist for Anthony Joshua. It'll be a $50 million payday. It'll be a massive audience on Netflix. He's having to get DAZN, his broadcast paymasters, to acquiesce to this. Eddie Hearn, by the way, is on White and Jordan tomorrow, so they'll grill him over this because he's Anthony Joshua's promoter. As you both say, and you rightly react, that is how every fan in the world is going to react to Anthony Joshua, a two-time heavyweight champion of the world.
I totally agree with that. You know, I think that we're at this stage of Anthony Joshua's career where you go, it's the last roll of the dice, the last opportunity to maybe pick up a world title when those titles fragment and Alexander Usyk releases those titles. Joshua may have got an opportunity to box for one of those vacated titles. Going down this route with Jake Paul seems a very strange option for me at this stage of his career. I get the fight's there and it's a huge money fight, but at what stage? It should be done after Joshua's career is finished, not right in the middle of it, and maybe at the most important point of his career to date.
Yeah, it's just you just feel you can't take him seriously if he has a fight like this going forward in his heavyweight career. But let's talk about the fight that you're preparing for on Saturday. We know it's going to be taking place. The rematch between Eubank Jr. and Ben. The atmosphere, it sounds brilliant where you are.
No, it's absolutely brilliant. We've had Conor Benn already. He rocked and rolled the place. He stood with DAZN for about half an hour, selling his rematch, his sequel with Chris Eubank Jr., who you can just see behind us in the ring right now, with Brian McIntyre, who is, of course, the trainer of Terence Crawford. It's a really big fight. It's just starting to catch a light this week. It's a family feud, of course, that goes back 35 years. We had the Eubank father and the Ben father in at talkSPORT yesterday. It was extraordinary. This is a really big fight, and you fancy Conor Benn's grown into the weight, don't you?
Yeah, absolutely. I think that Conor Benn, you can see, looks better at the weight this time around. His body's had time to adjust to it, and that could be important in a fight of this magnitude. You know, Chris Eubank Jr. looks in phenomenal shape behind us as well. You know, Conor Benn, the Benns, need a victory over the Eubanks. You know, this family feud goes back a long way. There's pride, there's egos, and I know how much the Benns want it. Can he do it? I'm not so sure. Maybe favourite for me is the guy in the ring right now, Chris Eubank Jr. But what we can guarantee is, guys, fireworks. These guys will take off from where they left off, and the last fight was absolutely magnificent.
I just glanced behind me. That's not actually Bomac in the ring with him. It's another member of the team. But what we're seeing from Chris Eubank Jr. here, clinical punches, picking his shots, Spencer. Really, he's going to look to pick Ben apart.
You know, I think the key factors here for Chris Eubank Jr., and we saw where he was getting the successes in that last contest, and that was in the early rounds when he was working everything behind the jab, keeping it at range, using his height and his reach to his advantage. The fight started going away from him when he got drawn into the fight. That's Conor Benn's game, when he wants to work the body on the inside. Now, we've seen Ben working out. That is the game plan from Conor Benn, to draw him into a dogfight. For Eubank, he has to use that height and reach, use that range, and then when he gets drawn in, he's got enough in the tank to get it over the line.
You're right, Pards, he's jockeying again.
Brilliant work.
By the way, guys, if you would have seen Gareth A. Davis when we're not on camera, I've never seen a guy dance like this in all my life. You wouldn't think he was 71, you'd think he was 31.
Well, look, we don't want to keep you. Keep up the dancing, keep up the jockeying, the jostling, whatever it is you're doing, Spencer. We love it.
Gareth, me and you'll have to have a dance-off.
Oh, well,
obviously, I've got history.
Hello, hang on. If we can have a paddle contest between some of our presenters, there's no reason we can't have a dance-off as well. I love it. Enjoy yourself, guys.
Thank you, guys.
Gareth A. Davies and Spencer Oliver there at Canary Wharf for this public
Top men,
workout.
aren't they? Great.
Fantastic.
And that is a great fight. I mean, personally, I just can't see Ben hurting Eubank as well as he did last time. You know, he threw so many punches. He caught him. He's just got that same hereditary jaw as his father, and just absorbed it all. And I think he'll win again, which won't be ideal for the Bens, unfortunately.
No, it won't.
No.
But that will put pay to any talk of a trilogy, you imagine, surely.
Well, you never know, do you?
I suppose not. What do I know?
You never know anything in boxing.
AJ's fighting Jake Paul.
That's what I was going to say. AJ's just put that all, it just shows you the boxing world. It's crazy at times.
It certainly is. But don't forget, Chris Eubank Jr. versus Conor Benn this Saturday from 7 p.m. It's live on talkSPORT. You can also watch live on DAZN.
And if you listen very carefully, you'll hear Majestic in the background doing the tunes. Of course he does. Does in between the rounds, gets all the crowd involved and, raises the atmosphere.
That's our
Go on, the match.
Exactly. For more boxing content, head over to the talkSPORT Boxing YouTube channel as well. Now, coming up next, we're going to hear from the England manager Thomas Tuchel, who was speaking today ahead of their clash with Serbia tomorrow evening. This is Kickoff on talkSPORT with Ladbrokes. It's 18 and over, gambleaware.org.
Get in the ring to win on talkSPORT.
Good evening. This is Kickoff, and it's a pleasure to have your company with us this Wednesday evening. It is Alan Pardew and Natalie Sawyer with you until 10. And It's the fight everyone is talking about. And thanks to talkSPORT, it could be your weekend sorted. There's one day left for your chance to win 2 tickets to the huge Chris Eubank Jr. versus Conor Benn rematch, which is live at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium this Saturday. We were just at the public workout, weren't we? You'll enjoy a night in a 5-star London hotel, £5,000 spending money as well. And it's a perfect weekend for you and whoever you choose to go with. So get a pen and paper handy because this is how you enter.
18 plus, UK excluding Northern Ireland. For a chance to win, text the word BOX to 83338 and you're in the draw. Text costs £2 plus 1 standard network rate message. You must have the bill payer's permission, or you can enter for free by calling 0330 880 3338. All entries must be received by the 13th of November at 1 p.m. and you need to answer our call to win. This is a talkSPORT limited promotion. Full terms and conditions at talksport.com.
Best of luck. Not long until you have to enter them. Time now for us to look at the latest football action with Ladbrokes.
The big preview on talkSPORT with Ladbrokes. Get a free bet every week of the season and a big boost every day. That's Ladisfaction. Minimum £5 bet. Conditions apply. 18 plus gambleaware.org.
OK, we are in the final international break of 2025. Hooray! That means there are World Cup qualifiers still to be played. And despite the fact that England are already through to next year's finals, they still have 2 more matches to complete. And today, the England manager Thomas Tuchel spoke to talkSPORT's very own Faye Carruthers about Phil Foden and England's attacking options.
I want a little bit of clarity on what we chatted about last week with Phil Foden and Jude Bellingham, because we had a bit of a debate ourselves on our podcast this morning about it. How has Phil taken the clarity on his position as a 9.5/10, first of all?
He likes it. He has also no choice. He's no choice. This is the role he gets for this camp, and he makes the most of it. I think he loves to be close to goal. I think he loves to be in the middle of the pitch. So I think it suits him good. He scored. He scored in the match against Dortmund, the second goal from exactly these positions, and that's what he has at the moment.
Is it going to be a case of someone misses out? We were debating whether or not Harry Kane, because you said he's unique, Phil Foden, and that he competes with both Harry Kane and Jude in terms of competition. So can the 3 play together, or is that not your thinking? One of them has to kind of come on as an impact sub?
At the moment, if we keep the structure, they cannot play. They can, but not in the structure, and not for the balance that we developed, and not for the structure that comes also with wingers who are like specialists in their positions. We play at the moment with a 6, 8, a 10 and a 9. There's a lot of concurrence, especially in the number 10 position. If you think about Phil, who could play there, if you think about Jude, you think about Morgan Rogers, who played fantastic for us in this position. You have a Cole Palmer, you have Morgan Gibbs-White. So there's a lot of players, and there is the chance that we will not take everyone, simply to not because we don't like it, not because they don't individually deserve it, but we will always do what's best for the team. We will always do what's best for winning. We will always do what's best for a balance, and we will try to keep the clarity, even if it means that we have to take tough decisions. We take tough decisions in any camp, and this will not change when we go to a tournament.
Okay, interesting thoughts there from Thomas Tuchel then on what he says in this current structure of the England team. Harry Kane, Phil Foden and Jude Bellingham cannot all play in the starting 11.
Can I just say hats off to Faye there, who kind of posed that question already knowing perhaps for the answer that she was going to get. And that was a nice headline, because he doesn't really kind of commit to it. He kind of leaves the door open a little bit, which you would expect from an England manager. But certainly, you know, when he named the number 10s there, I don't think he mentioned Eze. I might be mistaken, but I didn't think he did.
No.
So we got all these number 10s, and obviously we're only going to play with one. So it makes it very, very difficult to find a solution between the Foden Bellingham debate. But obviously, when I have my England cap on later, my England manager's cap, we'll discuss that a bit more.
Yeah. I mean, it's interesting. It kind of takes you back to the days. I know it's slightly different positions when you're thinking of how do you get in Frank Lampard, Steven Gerrard, Paul Scholes, and no one could ever find the right formula. And it obviously is the similar situation that Thomas Tuchel is going to find him.
Yeah, but I can go back even further than that.
Go on.
You know, because I remember Alan Hudson couldn't get a game because the midfield was, it was filled with great players. And then, down the years, Matt Letizia couldn't get in the team for a long period. Glenn Hoddle couldn't get in the team for a long period because of the competition. So this isn't something that's new to him. I mean, the one thing that we've always produced, Brian Robson and Gaz are probably the two best that I can think of off the top of my head right now, midfield players. This country has always produced brilliant midfield players. And obviously Bobby Charlton won the World Cup, scoring from range. Brian Robson may have won the World Cup if he hadn't dislocated his shoulder with Gaza as well. So, we've had, and I want to just give a special mention for Ray Wilkins, Butch Wilkins, who's now sadly gone. But this is not a conundrum that's new. But when you look at the other international sides, and I'm thinking of Portugal, Spain here mainly, they got the same problem too. So, you just got to make you just got to make your cut and your thrust and go with what is your flavour. I mean, Tuchel at the moment, really, you can tell he really likes this Rodgers number 10 Ralph Ringland, and I'll speak a little bit more about that later as well because I think there is some merit in that.
Okay, I mean, listen, he'd rather have this problem than scratching around trying to find players. Correct. So this is a happy headache for him. But it also does it put pressure on those players right now because they've all got to deliver? Well, to then hopefully when you look at us offensively, we've got a lot of armoury. There's no doubt about that. And obviously you want players, in rich vein of form when you get to a World Cup, and you don't want them tired, which has been an issue with the Premier League before. When Premier League, particularly British players, have gone into World Cups, they've looked tired and jaded. And the last Euros being an example of that, maybe. And we don't have the same options in the back four and in the goalkeeper position, unfortunately. And probably the weakness of the team is in that area. And there are question marks over a few of the defenders, certainly with injuries as well, playing a part for some of them, unfortunately.
Playing in the team,
Yeah, exactly.
That's
Thomas Tuchel certainly has said game time is important for every player who wants to get into his World Cup squad, and that was certainly a message for Miles Lewis Skelly. But as we say, a happy headache, but interesting to see how he's going to slot in Foden or Bellingham, if he's one of those are preferred tomorrow night to play up behind Kane, for example, or as you say, does it go with Morgan Rogers? Or it's all these things that we've got to factor in.
Forget about me playing this mockery role that I'm playing later in England.
I can't take it seriously. It's not mockery.
There is absolutely no chance of Bellingham being on the bench. Zero chance. I'll tell you that now. Well, he's going to cause a massive problem for himself with the media after leaving him out and, the mum's comments and everything else. The media would jump on it. So, let me tell you now, Thomas, you make sure Bellingham's in the team, and he will be in the team. I'm absolutely confident of that. There you go.
We will see. We haven't got long to find out. Less than 24 hours, in fact. That was all thanks to Ladbrokes. It's 18 and over. Gambleaware.org.
The big preview on talkSPORT with Ladbrokes. Get a free bet every week of the season and a big boost every day. That's Ladisfaction. Minimum £5 bet. Conditions apply. 18 plus. Gambleaware.org.
All right, coming up in the next hour, we've got a very exciting announcement regarding our very own Alan Pardew. For an hour only, he says it's a mockery, but we're taking it seriously. For 1 hour, you won't want to miss it right here on Kickoff.
everyone knows there are 20 managers in the Premier League, yeah? Well, actually, no. Around 3/4 of them are not managers. The terms manager and head coach are often used interchangeably to describe Premier League bosses, but they're actually two different jobs. So let's explain how and why. For years, fans referred to Mikel Arteta as Arsenal's manager, but I'm afraid technically...
I don't think so, no.
From his first day on the job, he was the Gunners' head coach. Let's pick a random moment in time, February 2025. Only 6 Premier League bosses actually held the official title of manager rather than head coach. Man City's Pep Guardiola, David Moyes of Everton, Ipswich boss Kieran McKenna, Southampton's Ivan Juric, Oliver Glasner at Crystal Palace and Leicester's Ruud van Nistelrooy were the only actual managers of their respective teams. Everyone else? That's right, head coach, including Ruben Amorim at Man United. He took over from Erik ten Hag, a man who had held the title of manager. Might come as a surprise that Amorim's appointment marked the first time ever that Man United had a head coach instead of a manager. But to understand why they made that decision, you also have to get what the difference is between a head coach and a manager. A manager's got a huge range of responsibilities. They're not just in charge of training and player lineups, they're also heavily involved in player sales and transfers. Critical stuff. But a head coach's role is far more focused on team training and performance on the pitch. So whereas Ten Hag was highly involved with decisions around transfers during his tenure, the intention was that Amorim wouldn't be, at least not on the same level. And as the sporting structure at Man United changed under Sir Jim Ratcliffe, people like Sir Dave Brailsford took charge of transfers instead. How all those roles play out in practice may be slightly different at different clubs though. On the other hand, the contracts of actual managers like Pep or Moyes had no limits on their job role and their involvement with transfers and contracts. But those guys are actually in the minority now, and it's a change that's happened pretty quickly. In 2019, there were only 6 head coaches in the Premier League, but by 2025, there were 14. A clear indication that more and more clubs are moving towards a model where the guy in charge is actually only really in charge on the pitch. And the way things are going, it might not be long before all 20 clubs have got head coaches, and the job position of football manager in the top flight is no more.
This is Kick-Off on talkSPORT. Very good evening to you. I'm Natalie Sawyer, and the former Newcastle and Crystal Palace manager, Alan Pardew, is alongside me this Wednesday night. That is not all for this hour, though, on Kick-Off, because we have a very special announcement for you.
In a world, we have the players to do it. Now we need the chef to put the ingredients in the right place. One man, one desire.
It's the dawn of a new era.
And when the England fans sing, "It's Coming Home," every chorus just has that little bit more conviction now.
A long time ago, in a land.
Some people are on the pitch, they think it's all over. It is now. It's 4.
And this time,
sit back and let the history unfold.
I've only got one thing left to say, and it's come on, England! Come on, England!
Breaking news to bring you live on talkSPORT.
This year's biggest blockbuster.
Dust off your passports, pack your suitcases. England are on their way.
A nice man, a joy to work with.
I quickly put a team together that I think are in the #1 position at the moment.
Alan Pardew is the new England manager. We'll bring you more on that as we get it.
If he wins, he gets escalated to a legend as an England manager.
You know, it's like a process that you have to go through some rough times in the games, which we did, and then I ended up winning it. So, you know, hopefully this is a reflection of what the senior team might do next year.
Coming soon.
Football is coming home. Sing the fans. The hope is very much alive.
Love it. Love it. That's right.
What did that take about 6 minutes to put together?
It's fantastic. That is right. You heard it here first. For this hour only.
Yeah.
London-born Alan Pardew is the England manager. We will get all the
Talksport customers are very happy that it's only for an hour.
You never know. During this hour, it might lead to a knighthood. You never know.
No,
We'll get all the lowdown.
my friend Sir Gareth.
Well, on just exactly what he would do with the England team, how he'd be approaching the last few final games before the World Cup of next year, and then his thoughts on the leaders in the England team, and much, much more as well. And we want you to get involved as well. So you can pose your questions to the England gaffer. That is Alan Pardew for this hour only. Why not text us your questions to 81089? You can WhatsApp us as well on 03717 223344. That's where you can also leave us a voice note, or you can call us as well and have a little chat with us too. But it's an absolute privilege to have the England manager here in the studio. So, Alan, shall we talk about the England squad that has been selected and what you make of your selections?
Well, I don't know. When I look at his squad with my manager's hat on, he has an abundance of talent, but world-class players is what you're really after at the level. And you need to kind of get them in there. Mm-hmm. That's the key. And then also have that, fight and winning mentality that your English fan absolutely demands that is part of the team. And there have been many times, and I talk mainly prior to Gareth's reign, really, where we had some performances where there didn't even seem to be fight in the team, and there was obviously not much quality going on. At least Gareth brought a unity back to the team, a winning spirit, a mentality, that they're in it together, and Thomas has picked up that mantle. So I think he has a nice environment to go forward.
Interesting, you talk about the unity, and everyone has talked about exactly that Gareth Southgate brought to the England team. It felt like for a long time, often players would be called up, some would pull out of the England squad. We didn't really get that so much with Gareth Southgate, it felt. Maybe because it seemed to be a pleasure to play for England and be a part of the setup. Yeah,
because he made the media as well part of the process.
Absolutely, yeah.
And that whereas before it was almost like them and us. It was like the England team, and we have the media as well. Oh dear, we got to look after them. Well, of course, it's essential that the message that the media represents is for the fan. So they want to have all the information and as much of it as they can get. And Gareth certainly opened the door to that and made it a lot easier for the players to interact with the media, to get the message across that actually we're good guys, basically. Okay, now and again we make errors, we let our hair down and make mistakes. But in the main, we're very focused, very professional, and we're trying to do as best we can, sometimes under real intense pressure. And it's that pressure that can cause players, as we're experiencing a little bit at Liverpool at the moment, to not look good as an individual or as a team, and that was lifted to some extent, and I still feel it's lifted, particularly in these qualifying games. We just breezed through them. The standard against us has definitely gone down, in my opinion. In terms of some of the European nations, obviously a lot more smaller nations are involved in the qualifying process, and we're just brushing them away.
Well, it has been a flawless campaign so far.
Yeah.
Played 6, won 6, goals scored 18, goals against none, which is just remarkable in itself. When you're already qualified like they are, we've got 2 more qualifiers to come. Serbia tomorrow, followed by an away trip to Albania, on Sunday. How hard is it to keep sort of everyone going for this once you know the job is already done?
Yeah, I think it is a opportunity for the manager to kind of, I wouldn't say experiment, but look at a couple of things, and I would do that if
Like what then? What would you do?
Well, for example, were you going to play with 2 wide players, or are you going to play with 1 wide player and 1 player who plays internally? Now, Jack Grealish obviously did that for Manchester City when they won the league. Eze does it He can do it from that kind of left side of the pitch and come inside. Foden has done it. But definitely the manager kind of put his big paw on top of Foden today and said he isn't going to be a wide player, he's going to be a number 10. So that ruins that kind of idea. But personally, that's how I would play. I would play with Saka on the right, and that left of the three would be a player that comes in field.
Okay.
And the reason I say that is because we've got an abundance of players who can play number 10. So why not try and play with two of them? And then obviously you need a raiding left back, and O'Reilly was outstanding for Manchester City at the weekend. And Lewis Skelly, who, hopefully will get enough games to be involved in the World Cup. So that's something that I think is worth looking at. It does suggest to me that the way Thomas was talking in his press that he's going to play maybe with two wide players, though, like a Bowen and a Saka, or a Rashford and a Saka.
Yeah, which is what he prefers to do. And obviously Harry Kane down the middle. But what would you do with Harry Kane in these games? Would you be playing him? I know as the England captain, he'll want to play. He'll want to continue breaking records like he's done. But would you also be saying to him, look, I know what you can do. I need to try someone else out.
So can I put the England cap on now?
This is your England cap.
Oh, okay. I would have Ivan Toney in this squad. I'm a little bit disappointed that Tuchel has kind of gone down that road of saying, as an England manager, it doesn't matter where they play. If they're playing well enough, then I'm going to pick them, right? And he can't do any more than he's doing in Saudi Arabia. He's gotten the goals. He's playing well. He's fit. He's not in the squad. And I think when you look at Ollie Watkins at the moment, the form that he's in, that's a bit of a worry, because he's been the genuine backup for Harry Kane. And I'm a big fan of Watkins, but he definitely there seems to be kind of a grind there at Villa. He's either not happy or he's not getting he doesn't look settled to me. And I know you was at the game last week, and
Maccabi Tel Aviv game.
Yeah, and he come on the sub, and the crowd were on him a little bit, and he just doesn't seem in a happy place, does he? So the Harry Kane conundrum, i.e. Harry getting injured, is a problem.
Well, in this current squad, it clearly is Marcus Rashford, I suppose, that he's thinking could be.
Yeah, he's never really done well there. He had a couple of games at Man United, but when he played there, they had a little run with him through there. He's never really done it there. He almost mentioned Foden today playing a false nine.
That's true.
Which I really wouldn't like.
And Bowen's done that before, hasn't he? False number 9.
Bowen?
Yeah.
Bowen's probably done that at West Ham on a couple of occasions, I think.
But surely he has to try out somebody as an option away from Harry Kane, just on the off chance.
Yeah, but I don't think he is. I really don't.
Would you?
I would. Yeah, I would. I would look at a couple of things, and it gives you, it might be what you're thinking, but certainly with the offensive players we got, it's nice to. I'd like Eze to get a run out, a start, and so. When you look at the team with Rodgers, Bellingham, Rice, Foden, where he can only play on the side, I don't think he's going to get a game from there. Particularly when the manager doesn't mention him in the number 10 role, is a bit of an issue.
Yeah, but yeah, I mean, like you said, there's just a plethora of options for that role. So maybe just didn't mean to omit his name, but he just did.
And sometimes as a manager, you forget someone.
Yeah, it's quite easy when there's quite a lot to think about.
Kicking yourself after a press conference. I've done that myself.
Absolutely.
The one thing I like about Rodgers, one of the things that he does that actually Bellingham doesn't do a lot of, Foden definitely doesn't do, and Palmer doesn't do, is run beyond the striker. And I think England are better when he's in the team, because of that reason. Like, he'll go beyond Kane, and Harry can come and link the game, and he gets in the box, and he's kind of forward thinking in terms of like his runs. So my midfield three for the World Cup at the moment would be Rice, Bellingham, Rodgers, for that reason, and then Palmer playing the left side when he hopefully comes back and he's fresh and he's really looking good, to come and play the left side of the pitch and come in as a number 10 as well, and have Saka on the right. So that would be and Kane through the middle. So that would be my starting. If I was like thinking of the World Cup at the end of the year, that would probably be my starting 11.
Okay. I mean, there's lots to digest there, and I'm sure we can get through that throughout the hour. Interesting thoughts on the sort of forward line then that you've sort of opted for there. We'll come to that, as I say, a little bit later on. We've also got to talk about Miles Lewis-Skelly and what you think has to happen with him, because he hasn't been called up.
Yep.
Thomas Tuchel's saying he needs to be playing for Arsenal, really, to be given a chance of making it for the World Cup. But obviously,
and he's
kept
sitting
out
at home now,
Calafiori.
kicking his heels. You know, a super young player who's fit and well. So frustrating for him.
So well last season as well.
Yeah.
But coming up next, Alan Pardew will give us his thoughts on who he sees as the leaders in this England team and just how important they are to any team. You can get in touch with us, as we've been asking. Text us to 81089. WhatsApp us. You can leave us a voice note there too on 03717 223344. Repeat that, 03717 223344. Why not pose your questions to the gaffer? You're tuning in to Kick Off on talkSPORT with Ladbrokes. It's 18 and over. Gambleaware.org. This is Kick-Off, and it's a pleasure to have your company this Wednesday evening. And it is Alan Pardew and Natalie Sawyer with you until 10. But for this hour, and this hour only, our very own Pards.
It might not be, you never know.
Well, I tell you what, this could be your audition right now. So what you say could matter for your future career. But certainly for this hour, Pards is the England gaffer. So if you want to ask him any questions, please do get in touch. You can call us on 03717 223344. You can also WhatsApp us on this number. Leave us a voice note there too if you so wish. Or you can just text us to 81089 and we'll do our best to read some messages and get your messages out there to him throughout the show. But before we chat more to Pards as the England manager, let's hear more from our England correspondent Faye Carruthers, who sat down with Arsenal's Bukayo Saka yesterday and revealed what makes Declan Rice a good leader.
He's not only a great player, but he's a great leader. Obviously, he was captain at West Ham and even around Arsenal. You know, he's a big leader. He's a guy that, you know, takes a lot of responsibility in the change room and gets the boys going. So credit to him for that. And of course, he's doing that here now as well. So yeah, it's just a credit to him. He's in really good form, really good moment, and happy to be his teammate.
I mean, I think we all see how good a character Declan Rice is. Does a character always lead to a good leader, or can they?
Yeah, normally. I mean, you know, you want rounded people to be, you know, the captain or the leader of the group. And, you know, when you see interviews with him or you see him just generally with, it could be the manager of England or it could be a fan. He's the same, you know, and that's always a good sign of a rounded character. And obviously his career so far has been extraordinary. In that special night in the Champions League last year, which elevated him even further. So, you know, it's a little bit unfortunate really for him when, if you're just talking about Declan Rice for a second, not because of his leadership skills, but because he's restricted a little bit in terms of, you know, we need him to be the anchor of the team. And sometimes, you know, in Arsenal, they release him a little bit more now to some great effect. So, but his set play delivery, I would say he's the best in the Premier League.
The best,
yeah. Because not only does he's very accurate, his power on the delivery defeats defences. So, leader, pivot, free kick taker. He's in. All in.
And you would have him as the number 6 then in the England team?
Yeah, I would. And, you know, this Harry Kane's got the captaincy. I think another rounded citizen, somebody all the players would look up to and respect. He's been in enough camps to know how to do the role, and he will be the captain at the World Cup, I'm sure of that. And obviously we have this Jordan Henderson, who's having this great season back at Brentford. You know, is he in the squad for his character, or is he in the squad to play? I would suggest it's twofold. One, yes, he's an important character, and I think he was sorely missed in the last tournament in the Euros. So I can understand why he was brought back. But of course, can you imagine bringing him on to seal a victory? You couldn't bring on anyone better. You know, if I always think that, particularly World Cups, the bench is underplayed, how important it is. And have you heard of the bomb squad? Do you know what the bomb squad is in rugby union? Have you ever heard of that?
Go on, you tell us.
Well, the bomb squad in rugby union is South Africa's bomb squad. So they used to, what they do at a sort of 60-minute, maybe less than that, 55, 50, 60 minutes, is bring on a load of forwards and overpower the opposition when they're fatiguing.
Yeah.
Right? So it's called the bomb squad. But we could have a Tekka squad.
A Tekka squad.
You like that, don't you?
I did like the Tekka squad.
So instead of like obviously bringing on a load of butch animals to smash the opposition, which is not really football's way, we could bring on. Look at the technical ability we could bring on.
Yeah.
From the bench, Bowen in particular, Eze, Rashford, you know, might be on the bench. Foden might be on the bench. Henderson, if you wanted to do it the other way to seal the game, you know, you got such experience, and that's where he fits. So, you know, this section we're talking about leaders. When I look around, I think Bowen, Henderson, Rodgers and Bellingham, I put them in the same boat because they're mates. And I think they'd feed off each other. So, and I think he's a nice rounded citizen too, actually. And then when you look in the back four, you got Stones, Dan Burn, who I think is a good leader, tricky weekend, Dan. Don't do that again.
Was tricky.
And
worked
a
out well for my
player
team, though.
who I think is absolutely essential. If we was to win the World Cup, I would say after Harry Kane, Declan Rice, the most important player is going to be Gahey. That's how important I think he is. Because I think we need someone at the back who is a natural leader. I think at the moment we don't have that. And he...
You don't think John Stones?
Not really. I think he's a good person, but I don't think he's he could take the team up if we were down. You know,
Okay, yeah.
you know, you need someone sometimes to just dig you out of a hole. And Gahey, I to stop a moment even would lift the team. Like for example, if there was a race, and we're a little bit short at the back, Gahey would get us out of trouble, and that kind of lift the team. So for me, obviously he's injured in this particular window. He might play the second game. We understand, but he's definitely going to miss the first one.
Yeah.
I think he's very, very poor. And then the last leader of the group is Pickford, who is typical goalkeeper. He's a bit of a weird leader, bit left field, but a leader nevertheless.
That's just a goalkeeper you're talking
That's what I'm
about,
saying.
really,
I
yes.
know.
It's not just Pickford.
They're not all like that, but they do have that mad gene in there.
There is something about goalkeepers.
Yeah, there's a mad gene in
Yeah,
there somewhere, yeah.
Did you, when you were a manager, did you have leadership groups?
Yeah.
And how important are they?
Well, they are. Well, when you say leadership groups, it wasn't something that I put together. I don't think you can put it together. But I would go to like a group of senior players, and maybe I would ask a young player to be on it, because the thing about young players, they don't want to step forward into that group. They feel like they don't belong there yet. They haven't quite earned the spurs to be in with the senior group. But it's nice to have that voice, like even like Saka, who's got a great mentality. You could have him in there to represent the, we're thinking about doing this, doing that, a bit of team building. What do you think? Oh, nah, the boys wouldn't like it. It's a good opinion. So I think the leadership group is so important, particularly you're seeing a little bit of that at Liverpool, where we've obviously had 2-3 weeks ago they had the team meeting outside of the manager to say, like, we got to get our act together, etc., and that's what you need, because you can't do it on your own. No manager has ever won anything without strong leaders and brilliant footballers. You're just an organizer.
But you have to have those allies within the team,
of course,
that you can turn to, as you say,
that
might then lead a separate meeting, but they're doing it for the good of the team.
Yeah, and they're representing the gravity and the ideals and the focus that you've put in place. They are your representatives. They're the ones that have got to like see it through, i.e. when you're not there, when you're in the media or wherever you are, or you're not in the room. They got to follow those and believe in those issues.
Okay, there's so much more to digest from all of this. We still have to talk about the Miles Lewis Skelly situation even, and maybe what your advice would be for him. Might be tricky in the sense that Arsenal probably still want to hold on to him, but with a World Cup on the horizon, what does he have to do? We'll also get Pardew opinion on what he would be looking for, I should say, in the remaining games to come. So the final 2 qualifiers, and then we imagine there are going to be 2 friendlies in March and possibly 2 warm-up games in June too. And that will obviously lead up to the World Cup. So we'll get Pardew's take on that. Remember, you can get involved as well. 81089 is the text number. The WhatsApp is 03717 223344. You can leave us a voice note there, or you can ring us, in fact, on that number and have a chat with us too. A very good evening to you. This is Kickoff on talkSPORT. I'm Natalie Sawyer, and with me here in the studio, pleased to say, the England manager, Alan Pardew, for the rest of this hour.
There's 30 minutes left. I just can't wait to get to the end.
You're doing a great
26
job.
minutes left.
I tell you what, you're doing a great job. You're giving us insight that we wouldn't normally have. By the way, just to let you know, obviously Euro 2028 is going to be staged across the United Kingdom and Ireland as well, and it's been confirmed that Wembley will host the final on, I think it's July the 9th. The quarterfinals will also take place at Wembley, Cardiff, Dublin and Glasgow. So that has now officially been confirmed. There were sort of rumours going out around. Cardiff also will host the opening game on June the 9th. So that has all been revealed. That'll be great to look forward to.
Oh, the opening game probably be England, I'm taking it, will it?
I don't know.
Well, the opening of a tournament is usually the host, isn't it?
But it's in Cardiff, so it's Wales.
Well, yeah, that's well.
It all depends on who qualifies, of course, because they all have to qualify. They're not.
Well, I wasn't really counting Wales. Okay. Is any Wales callers out there would like to comment on my last comment?
Yes, please put him right. Yeah. Craig Bellamy's, army and
doing a good job, actually.
Yeah,
doing a good job. I've always been a bit of a fan of his.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
All right. So.
Well done, Craig.
Slight retraction on what you're saying, but we'll see. We don't obviously know any of the
way the qualifying is such organised these days. With it's almost like it's a given that Wales will be there.
Okay,
and Scotland.
And Ireland and Northern Ireland and whoever else. Yeah, they're all.
Bring them all in.
They're all in. That's what we want to see.
Home nations.
That's
remember
what we
them?
Want. That's what we. Well, exactly.
The Home Nation tournament. Those who didn't know, right back, when would that have been? The 70s, 80s.
I think 80s was the last time.
Was it the 80s?
I feel like it might have been.
We used to have a tournament every year where the home nations would all play each other. Brilliant they were. Brilliant games. Great atmosphere.
Those days are gone.
Yeah,
Alan. But I'll tell you what's not gone. You as the England manager, we're still doing that.
Okay.
I want to talk to you quickly about Miles Lewis-Skelly and what you think should happen with him, because as we mentioned, he had such a great season last time around for Arsenal. It led to a new contract and the thoughts of he is going to be the future of Arsenal, which he still could well be, because he's still very, very young. But he's just not getting much of a game time in North London right now. Calafiori is doing brilliant things for them at left back.
Yeah.
And then when he's not playing, sometimes it's Nkapie that is playing ahead again of Lewis-Skelly. Thomas Tuchel has said for him to get into the England team, he needs to be playing. So the only option he has, or there are a couple of options, is that he goes out on loan or he is sold. But as I said before, I'm not sure Arsenal are going to look to sell him.
No chance.
Are they going to look to loan him out?
No, I don't think so. It's a problem because this kid, who has a great personality, by the way, absolutely love him to bits, and a great footballer. There's no doubt about that. One of the key successes of back fours is sometimes to play centre backs at full backs. Calafiori is doing that job. Gives you extra height. It gives you more power. They naturally defend narrower, hence Arsenal not conceding goals. Chelsea did it to great extent. With Gallas would play at fullback on a lot of occasions in that, particularly that year when they only conceded 15. So I don't see him playing many games. The one beauty he has, and I'm talking about staying at Arsenal here, is the amount of competitions they're still in. And the fact that he still might be able to get 20 games to 25 games. I think if he got that, then Thomas would take him. I'd like to think he would, because I think he's a great addition. He brings an exuberance that only a young player can bring, and an ambition that is not knocked out of him. He hasn't had any downtime. That's always a good thing to have in your squad. It must be so difficult for him and his agent and his family in January, because they obviously want to go out on loan. They want him to play. He'll want to play. He'll be knocking on the door, and Arteta won't be in. He'll be hiding somewhere. And then when he is in, he's going to have to give him the news that, I'm afraid, we're trying to win 3-4 competitions, your son, and we need you.
Well,
that's what message he's going to get.
The games that he's started are in the League Cup. So he started 2 games for Arsenal in that. He has played his part in the Premier League. We shouldn't say that he's not been involved at all. He's not started any games, but he's come on in 7 matches of the 11 that Arsenal have played so far. So he is still getting some relative game time, just not as much perhaps as last season. And I suppose we also have to remember he's only, 19? Something like that.
Yeah, because the success has come really nice and early in his career, which is great. So he's got great history already at Arsenal. But the fact that it does seem that Calafiori's got this now down, doesn't he? This position, and all the big games, it looks like if he's fit, he's going to play him. So that does leave him with a problem. And one of the things I always used to like to do with young players is, really set them goals that were difficult for them to achieve, like 30 appearances in a season, for example. So I'm sure in his little, in his own little mind, he's got a figure that he wants to hit, And I would always respect that if I was a manager. I'd try to work it a little bit if I felt this player was a real prospect. And I don't think there's any doubt that Arteta thinks he's a real prospect. So he's going to try and look after him as best he can.
Yeah, and also me suggesting that he's only 19. If he is to become a fully fledged England international, he's got time. I mean, we're talking about Euro 2028. He could be the left back, depending on what happens.
You could also say that Pele won the World Cup at 16.
Of course. There's always an argument either way.
Yeah, there's always an argument. So in his mind, because he played so well last year for Arsenal, that he would be very disappointed where he is right now. There's no doubt about that.
So there are 2 qualifiers to come in this international break, which is Serbia, live tomorrow night on talkSPORT, followed by an away trip to Albania. That is on Sunday. Again, that one is live with us too. Then there's an international break in March. We're yet to know who England will play in those games.
Okay.
Likewise, their warm-up matches ahead of the World Cup, although I'm led to believe that those warm-up matches actually will be played in America. That's what I was given a little inkling about,
well, that
which
would make sense.
Yes.
Yeah, because obviously you're going to have to acclimatise to all the different conditions that you're going to face there. And one of the problems that I know they're having right now is, no one knows all the qualifiers as yet, of course. Mm-hmm. So no one can now down their camp where they're going to be based.
Yeah.
Obviously, we don't even know where the games are going to be in terms of who's going to play where. We know where the stadiums are. So where are you going to? And you've got a vast area of to cover.
That is the problem, isn't it?
It's a massive problem logistically.
Because we know England, obviously, like many of the nations, or especially those that have qualified, will already be itching we want to secure our base, but they can't, because it could be Mexico, it could be Canada, it could be the US, and the US is vast.
There'll be different agendas, like the players will want to be in New York and the manager will want to be in Utah, somewhere really
Vegas. I can't believe you mentioned Vegas.
Yeah. Yeah, no, Vegas. I don't think that would be a mention. But you do have, and we know from history. Look at Capello's reign, that camp that was a complete disaster, where they was isolated, and it was almost like Groundhog Day, and they were like bored, senseless, and unfortunately, that is such a rub off in training and in games. You can't legislate for how much of a problem that is. But you've got to get that right, and I'm sure all the big nations are chasing very similar camps.
Yeah,
universities out there are well stocked. Some of the universities are unbelievable facilities. So I'm guessing, we've made inquiries. We've probably got 3 or 4 universities sort of set up. Hopefully,
that'll be interesting. Do you think so? There's a little hold on that. Just keep that on hold for us, just in case we need it.
There's a little deposit.
Yeah, just a little one, a little retainer.
Booking.com. The University of Chicago and the University of...
But these are the things that make... When you have such a spread out World Cup, I've only ever gone to one World Cup, and that was at Qatar, which has spoilt me, I suppose, in the sense of me thinking it's so easy, the World Cup, but that was so unique in the sense that
logistically,
it was so small in comparison to every other World Cup, pretty much.
And you got that when you got Saudi Arabia coming short.
Yes,
that will be
true.
very similar.
Question is whether or not that's going to be moved to a winter World Cup, which I envisage it will be.
I am pretty sure it will be.
Indeed.
That's something else that we can talk about on talkSPORT forever.
Indeed.
Forever.
Well, until it comes around. Right, Alan, on the way next, you're going to be picking your starting 11 for the game tomorrow night.
Oh, tomorrow night.
Yes.
Okay. Yep.
And we want you to answer the questions that have been posed to you because you have been very helpful to us. You have been getting involved. You're tuning in to Kickoff on talkSPORT with Ladbrokes. It's 18 and over, gambleaware.org.
Get in the ring to win on talkSPORT.
It is the fight everyone's talking about, and thanks to talkSPORT, it could be your weekend sorted. There's only one day left, though, for your chance to win 2 tickets to the huge Chris Eubank Jr. versus Conor Benn rematch. It's live at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium, and it's this Saturday as well. You'll enjoy a night in a 5-star London hotel, £5,000 spending money as well, and you can take who you like. Get a pen and paper handy right now because this is how you can enter.
18 plus, UK excluding Northern Ireland. For a chance to win, text the word BOX to 83338 and you're in the draw. Text costs £2 plus one standard network rate message. You must have the bill payer's permission, or you can enter for free by calling 0330 880 3338. All entries must be received by the 13th of November at 1 p.m. and you need to answer our call to win. This is a talkSPORT limited promotion. Full terms and conditions at talksport.com.
Good luck. This is Kickoff on talkSPORT this Wednesday evening, and it is Natalie Sawyer and Alan Pardew, the England gaffer, until 9 o'clock, that is. And we've been asking for you to get in touch with the questions that you'd like to pose the England manager. So we've had quite a few, actually, come in. And we've got a voice note that we're going to start with. This is Adil, who has got in touch via even WhatsApp on 03717 223344. Here's what he said.
All right, gaffer. Here's one for you. What would you have done with Scholes, Gerrard and Lampard?
Oh.
What would you have done? Interesting.
Scholes, Gerrard and Lampard, yeah. I mean, it was always, when you looked at it from the outside, it always seemed like, why can't it work? Why won't it work? And then and obviously since they've all kind of retired and a couple of them managers, etc., have talked about it, where they just couldn't, it just didn't seem right to them. It didn't feel right. You'd had to have persisted with it just because of the quality of the three of them, wouldn't you? It was just like astonishing. I mean, Lampard's goals and incredible record, and obviously Stevie Gerrard, who cost me a cup final.
Oh, don't.
Yeah, that's a scar that I have somewhere. I was always thinking that Paul Scholes would be the one that I would leave out if that didn't click. Obviously, you would try to make it work, but if it didn't work,
why would you leave him out and not on the others?
Because I just don't think that the three of them had enough security in that area,
right?
And I think that was a bit of an issue. Obviously, when you had the ball, it wasn't so much of a problem, but. So I would have played a more defensive-minded player. I'm trying to think at that time who would have been the outstanding kind of sitting defensive midfield player. I'm sure somewhere out there will tell me.
It's a good question there, Adil. What a way to start things off.
Yeah.
Tricky one.
Well, that's the conundrums that you have as England manager, and that's the conundrum that Thomas is going to have when he gets to the World Cup. Bellingham, Rodgers, Foden, Eze, Palmer, Saka, Rashford. Who's going to get the three positions? And you like to think, and one of the things that does happen to England managers a little bit is their form in those last 2 months going into a World Cup could be very significant for one of them. And the one that I really kind of think is like who played in the final where the final was going to be is Palmer, right? And the way he just turned it on against PSG and changed the game in the World Club Championship. I just think that's significant. And I think this kid, if this rest period, actually, not great for Chelsea, by the way, because they wanted him to play, but might be a great thing for England that he's had this kind of injury and he's had time to reevaluate the success he's had, and he might even come back better than he was, hopefully.
Defensive midfielders, would it Michael Carrick? Would it have been?
Yeah, Michael would have been outstanding. I managed Michael, and one of the arts of that role, which you can't always see, and Rodri is a master of it. Pep Guardiola was a master of it. Is the first touch takes you into space, and Michael Carrick was brilliant at that. Wherever the pressure was coming from, he could feel it and take his touch in the opposite direction. And that is the gift of that position. When you look at your clubs and you look at your sitting midfield player, see if he can do that.
Okay, good idea. Let's get some more questions.
Graham and Bradshot, Liverpool,
yeah.
Absolutely brilliant at that as well.
Okay. Some more of the questions. This one's from Luke, who says, do you think this is a viable option, swapping the roles or the positions of Harry Kane and Jude Bellingham?
Well, that's what I was saying earlier about Rodgers, in that Rodgers, forget about Bellingham for a second, when Rodgers plays the 10, he goes beyond Harry Kane, and I think it helps Harry a little bit, because when Bellingham plays there, he makes occasional runs beyond Harry Kane, but not to the extent that Rodgers does. So I think it would help Harry Kane to have somebody going beyond him a lot.
Okay.
So
but you wouldn't necessarily start Kane as a 10 and another as 9.
No.
Still keep it as is.
Yeah. No, Harry Kane's your number 9.
Okay.
He's absolutely outstanding player. Underrated, I think. Well, I don't know if he's underrated. It's hard to say that. Underappreciated, I think, at times.
That's a better word.
Yeah. Underappreciated.
Yeah. I think it's just that a lot of people see him dropping deep a lot and therefore thinking, well, why not play him a little bit deeper and allow somebody else to be that number 9?
No, because we've got such great assets behind him that you don't want to complicate that.
Okay, let me move on to Trent Alexander-Arnold. This is from Dan, the Rochdale fan. Would you have him in the squad?
Yes.
Ooh, okay.
No hesitation.
Yeah.
And I think Trent is a conundrum in my team that I would pick.
So would you start him in your?
Well, it would depend really, because James had so many injuries, and so has Trent actually. Both of them missed lots of games, and I was just what I was saying earlier. I think the 2 months leading into the World Cup might determine that right back position.
Okay, more questions to ask you. Where do you think the biggest weakness is in this current England squad? That's from Gareth from Maidstone.
I think it's that. I think it's that combination of the 2 centre-backs and the goalkeeper. I think that relationship is not our strongest area. Pickford's distribution sometimes can be a little bit erratic, and you can get involved with centre-backs coming out of his goal, as we've seen on occasion, and complicate situations if the centre-half is not dominating or he feels that they lack pace. He's going to come out and get involved. So that's why I think Gahey is so important, because when you're at a World Cup, you are going to come against the fastest forward you've ever seen at some point. And if you haven't got a centre half who can match him, who can deal with that pace, then you're always going to be in trouble. I remember Alex Ferguson saying to me at Man United, when we push at home at Old Trafford, I have to leave a centre half on their own. The other centre half has to join in, otherwise we can't keep the pressure on. So obviously, a centre half pushes in. Who's that going to be? Well, if it's Rio Ferdinand, you're okay. And Vidic, for example. So that's what Gahey gives us, that real outstanding pace to get us out of trouble. But I still think the centre backs and the goalie is the one area that when Thomas feels that they're the free. Pickford, obviously, I think is a cert.
Yeah.
When he got his free, just keep playing them. I wouldn't keep chopping and changing that.
Left back, is that an issue for you?
No, I think O'Reilly and Lewis Skelly, if he gets enough games, even Luke Shaw, who's coming into a bit of form, he's not got picked in this squad, has got an outside chance of taking that berth.
All right, look, there are more questions I'm going to pose to you after the break. So we've actually given you a contract extension.
No.
Yeah.
Oh, no. That's me done. You can't afford me for another half an hour, let me tell you. Okay.
Well, just for a few more minutes as the England gaffer.
I'm going to give you 10 minutes.
All right, that's all we want. And then it's back to normal after that, I promise you.
I don't mind if it's questions, that's good.
Yeah, there we go. It's not too hard hitting for you either. Don't forget, England against Serbia tomorrow night. That one is live on talkSPORT, as is the England's trip to Albania, which is on Sunday, kicking off at 5. So you won't miss a thing.
It's a tricky one, isn't it, Albania? Jeez.
Well, we'll get your thoughts on that after the break. This is Kickoff.
everyone knows there are 20 managers in the Premier League, yeah? Well, actually, no. Around 3/4 of them are not managers. The terms manager and head coach are often used interchangeably to describe Premier League bosses, but they're actually two different jobs. So let's explain how and why. For years, fans referred to Mikel Arteta as Arsenal's manager, but I'm afraid technically...
I don't think so, no.
From his first day on the job, he was the Gunners' head coach. Let's pick a random moment in time, February 2025. Only 6 Premier League bosses actually held the official title of manager rather than head coach. Man City's Pep Guardiola, David Moyes of Everton, Ipswich boss Kieran McKenna, Southampton's Ivan Juric, Oliver Glasner at Crystal Palace and Leicester's Ruud van Nistelrooy were the only actual managers of their respective teams. Everyone else? That's right, head coach, including Ruben Amorim at Man United. He took over from Erik ten Hag, a man who had held the title of manager. Might come as a surprise that Amorim's appointment marked the first time ever that Man United had a head coach instead of a manager. But to understand why they made that decision, you also have to get what the difference is between a head coach and a manager. A manager's got a huge range of responsibilities. They're not just in charge of training and player lineups, they're also heavily involved in player sales and transfers. Critical stuff. But a head coach's role is far more focused on team training and performance on the pitch. So whereas Ten Hag was highly involved with decisions around transfers during his tenure, the intention was that Amorim wouldn't be, at least not on the same level. And as the sporting structure at Man United changed under Sir Jim Ratcliffe, people like Sir Dave Brailsford took charge of transfers instead. How all those roles play out in practice may be slightly different at different clubs though. On the other hand, the contracts of actual managers like Pep or Moyes had no limits on their job role and their involvement with transfers and contracts. But those guys are actually in the minority now, and it's a change that's happened pretty quickly. In 2019, there were only 6 head coaches in the Premier League, but by 2025, there were 14. A clear indication that more and more clubs are moving towards a model where the guy in charge is actually only really in charge on the pitch. And the way things are going, it might not be long before all 20 clubs have got head coaches, and the job position of football manager in the top flight is no more.
Good evening, this is Kick-Off and we're coming to you live from our London studios. I'm Natalie Sawyer and with me it is Alan Pardew, who has been given a contract extension just for the next few minutes to continue as the England manager, because there were a lot more questions that were asked and we didn't get to them, and we didn't get your starting 11 either for Serbia tomorrow night. So we want to get to those. But as I said, we've been asking questions that our listeners have been posing for you, whether that's on WhatsApp, or your voice notes, or even your text messages. And as I say, there was a couple that we didn't get to. Alex was in touch and he said, is there a player, when we're talking about the subject of leadership and your leaders in a team, said, is there a player who you didn't expect to be a leader, but who surprised you and then stepped up into a leadership role?
Yeah, that does evolve. You know, in the clubs that I've had previously, that's happened many times. Particularly young players find their kind of position elevated and then become a leader. When I went back to Crystal Palace, Zaha, who I didn't think would be a leader type, was very much a leader in the team. He wasn't so much a leader of in words. He was a leader in actions, training every day, trained every day. Example he set in training in terms of wanting to win 7-a-sides and anything that he was competing for was a leadership in its own manner. So different players lead in different ways. You sometimes sign a player who comes in and has great vocal strengths in terms of motivation. And you know, I remember Ian Wright when I played for Ian Wright in 1989. Ian was only, what would Ian been? Ian would have been about 21, 22. he was probably the most influential person in the dressing room with his voice, let alone his ability.
Really?
Yeah, he was absolutely brilliant in the dressing room. And, you know, when I talk about influences that I've had in my career as a player and as a manager, I know he's very famous now, Ian, as a pundit, but Ian Wright was without doubt the best person I've ever seen in a change room.
Really?
Yeah, brilliant he was.
That's interesting.
And I actually heard Martin Keown say something very similar about how important he was for Arsenal when he went across, and that doesn't surprise me.
I mean, it doesn't surprise me in a way because we see what he's like as a character, as a pundit.
Yeah.
But there's sometimes a maturity that might come with that. But it's interesting that he had it all along.
Yeah, of course. And what you don't see is you know, when Ian's a pundit now, obviously he talks with passion and everything else. But, you know, when he gets angry, he can actually be very forceful. I don't mean aggressively. It's sometimes funny. You know, he's funny. Obviously, we've seen that as a pundit. But, you know, when you're losing games, he was absolutely terrific. Terrific at half time.
I just wanted to get back onto when we're talking about leadership as well, Jordan Henderson, because he's always seems to be a controversial pick for fans in the sense that many don't understand why he's still being picked. Now I get to see him pretty much week in, week out playing for Brentford.
Of course, he's one of you. Yes,
I do.
I love him.
I do. I see it. I see why he's so I see why he's so important to our team. But what would you say to those that still don't get the Jordan Henderson pick?
Firstly, you have to look at his CV. Now, I remember him as the Newcastle manager, you know, when he was at Sunderland, of course, and he was absolutely outstanding as a young player. His energy, his kind of reading of the game. I think his passing quality is underrated, actually. And Brentford have experienced that. There were some passes that, you know, I've seen highlighted in Match of the Day or in highlight reels from his time at Brentford. But that's just natural for him. Long sort of passes, switching play, transitions, and passing to particularly number 10 runs is a real strength of his. But of course, what really sets him apart to a lot of players is the ability to dig in difficult games, and that's what he's bringing to Brentford, and what he brought to Liverpool, and what he had at Sunderland as well. Is that digging a team out of a hole, and there's not many players that have got that ability, and he has.
You mentioned about playing Cole Palmer on the left. This was from Callie. He says, we've already tried a number 10 on the left. It didn't work. Foden played out there in the Euros and was awful. Callie suggests stick to Gordon or Rashford on the left with Bellingham as the number 10.
Yeah, that is exactly, you know, how it evolves, because, you know, if it doesn't work, and I agree, I don't think Foden worked at all. It really looked uncomfortable. But Palmer is not Foden. You know, I think he's a different player, and certainly he will be vying for that number 10 spot, which for me, I think the thing that when you look at the team, when you look at Rodgers, okay, goes beyond the strikers. Okay, we're not going to play Rodgers, we're going to play Foden. Foden comes short, knits the game together, which he does at Man City. Okay, he's not going to play, Palmer's going to play. So Palmer does something different. So you've got three lovely options there. Why are you going to use Bellingham there? So Bellingham for me is the number 8. That's what I think, because he drives the team. I think he's got all the tools to do any role in the midfield. He can come and get it off the back four. So I that's why I don't see Bellingham as the number 10. And I agree with that comment that the Foden Palmer thing won't work. Eze off that side, but it worked for Leverkusen because that's what Wirtz did.
Okay, yeah.
When they won the Bundesliga, right?
Okay, yeah.
And everything almost that year. He played off on the left side and come in. Now, the reason he's at Liverpool, which we're going to talk about later, I believe, is because when they was courting him, in the courting process, so to speak, I think they guaranteed him he'd play number 10 because that's obviously where he wants to play. He doesn't want to play on that because that left side is actually, there's a lot of horrible work you got to do defensively, looking after the fullback, coming back, you know, grinding it out like Salah isn't doing at the moment, but he has done in the past to great effect. And that's the side that Wirtz doesn't look like he wants to do anymore. He wants to be the number 10. He wants to be the main man. It's understandable, £100 million player going up to 170 million or whatever it is. So that conundrum can work.
You mentioned Ivan Toney a little bit earlier on,
Yep.
and someone that Thomas Tuchel should be looking at. Are you saying he should definitely be preferred, even if, let's say, Ollie Watkins was on form? He's only scored 1 goal all season. But if he was in better form, would you still prefer Ivan Toney?
No, not necessarily.
Okay, it's more the form aspect, right?
Yeah, and I worry for Ollie because I think Ollie needs to move in January.
Do you?
Yeah, I do. I think it might be good for Villa, and I think it might be good for him as well. I think
Where's he going to go?
Well, there'll be plenty of options for him. When I look at what happened to him when they got to PSG in the quarterfinal, whatever it was, the biggest night at Aston Villa for many a year, and he didn't get picked, and Rashford played, who was on loan. I said at the time, I don't know if that bridge could ever be brought back together with him and the manager. It seems to me like that was water that went under the bridge there. And Watkins is playing. He's a professional. He's going to go out there and doing it. But I don't know if his love for the manager and the team at the moment is there. And I say that reluctantly because I think he's an absolutely terrific person as well. I just want to see him playing better. And if it's at Villa, brilliant. I hope he gets in the team and stays in the team. But at the minute, it's looking difficult.
Yeah, he's in and out. Malin is sometimes playing ahead of him. European nights.
But you know, this. When you look at the Premier League and you start looking at set plays, how influential they've become this year, will that transfer to the World Cup? It doesn't always, but it might do. If it does, then you want Ivan Toney because at set plays, he is absolutely a real handful. Long throws, free kicks, etc., etc.
There's talk of Ivan Toney perhaps coming back to the Premier League in January.
Yeah, maybe.
Some of the suggestions are because that's his only way of maybe getting into the England squad. But regardless of that, if he doesn't, it's still, you shouldn't dismiss him just because he's playing in Saudi Arabia.
Definitely not. And I think, and Thomas has actually said he wouldn't, and then he's left him out. Now, if he was having a disaster, I mean, when Jordan Henderson wasn't, you could see he wasn't enjoying it in Saudi Arabia and he needed to come back. But Ivan Toney is the opposite of that. He's not. He's enjoying it. He's like, getting goals and playing well. Why isn't he included? I don't understand.
Yeah, well, it's 11 goals in 15 games in all competitions for Ivan Toney. No, it's not too bad in 2025, with a couple of assists thrown in there as well. We haven't got time for your 11 for tomorrow, but unless you quickly want to rattle through it.
O'Reilly, Konza, Stones, James, Rice, Bellingham, Rodgers, Eze, Saka on the right, Kane through the middle.
Job done. Next up, we are going to focus on Liverpool and hear Howard Webb's explanation even as to why Virgil van Dijk's goal was disallowed. But before that, some more breaking news from the England camp.
If I could turn back time.
And again, England fall just short.
If I could find a way.
My midfield three for the World Cup at the moment would be Rice, Bellingham, Rodgers, Palmer playing the left side and come in as a number 10 as well and have Saka on the right. So that would be our and Kane through the middle.
I don't know why I did the things I did.
I literally can't believe that England is still in.
You look at the teams that have the ability to be able to beat England, they do it with compact defending and they do it with a nous that England, for whatever reason at the moment, just haven't got.
But you never know what's around the corner. All of a sudden, things could click with a change in formation.
Bellingham! 1-0 England!
I don't know why I said the things I said.
He's a bit of a weird leader, a bit left field.
Still, the long, interminable, horrendous wait continues.
Some shock-breaking news to bring you here live on talkSPORT.
I'm told this evening an agreement in principle has been struck between Thomas Tuchel and the FA.
Alan Pardew has stepped down as England manager and has reportedly taken a job in Saudi Arabia.
He's weighed in. He's gone to Saudi Arabia. I mean, cheeky. You ask him to do a job and then you make that package up. I tell you what, it's a case of Sir Alan Pardew after that.
Disgusting behaviour. And to think that an England manager would give up the England job and go to Saudi Arabia. Who would do such a thing?
Terrible.
Oh, yeah, Don Revie.
Listen, it's back to normal after the break. You're tuning in to Kick Off on talkSPORT with Ladbrokes. It's 18 and over. Gambler.org. Good evening. This is Kick-Off this Wednesday evening on talkSPORT, and it is Alan Pardew and Natalie Sawyer with you until 10. They've got the Sports Bar coming your way with Jamie O'Hara and Jason Cundy. Get your calls into them now, and I'm sure you'll be able to have a chat with them. 03717 2233 44. Let's get back onto domestic matters, shall we? And in particular, the Liverpool disallowed goal that has, well, sparked a lot of debate as to whether or not it should have been allowed or disallowed, as it turned out to be. It was actually one of the incidents that was featured on the referee mic'd up show that we get periodically throughout the season with Howard Webb and Michael Owen. The decision was actually made by the on-field referee Chris Kavanagh after the assistant ref raised his flag for offside. Then a check by the VAR determined that Robertson had interfered with play, Andy Robertson, from an offside position, and therefore the goal was ruled out. As you can imagine, the Liverpool head coach Arne Slot wasn't happy with that decision. He felt it was wrong, and as a result, Liverpool then wrote to the PGMO to clarify on everything. Before we get your take on the scenario, let's actually hear the decision that was made in real time, followed by Howard Webb's explanation.
Robertson's in line of vision right in front of the keeper. He's ducked under the ball. He's very, very close to him. I think his line of vision, I think he's been impacted, mate.
Okay, so offside then.
I think offside.
On-field decision is offside.
Checking the on-field decision of offside against Andy Robertson. Delay. So you got a clear offside position.
Go on, talk to me,
You got a movement. You got a high ground to show how high he is in terms of line of vision.
Very close to Donnarumma.
It does.
I agree with the on-field decision. I think it's offside.
Virgil,
It's a clear, an obvious action which clearly impacts on the goalkeeper.
Yeah. Chris, it's Michael confirming the on-field decision of offside against Andy Robertson. He is in an offside position very close to the goalkeeper and makes an obvious movement directly in front of him. Check complete offside.
Big decision, Howard. I am strongly of the opinion that should have stood. What's your view on that?
Yeah, for sure, Michael, a huge decision, obviously, in a big game. We've known from our conversations before that offside, interfering with an opponent where the offside position player doesn't play the ball and the officials have to make a judgment whether the actions of that player impact an opponent are some of the most subjective decisions that we have to make. And therefore, it's no surprise that some people believe that this goal should have stood, as you've just said. So I think it's important that we look at the facts of what actually happened in this situation. We know the corner comes in and the ball reaches Van Dijk. As the ball's coming across the penalty area, the Manchester City players move out. They leave Robertson in that offside position in the heart of the 6-yard box. When Van Dijk heads the ball forward, that's the moment when we have to make an offside judgment about Robertson and about what he's doing there. We know he doesn't touch the ball, but what does he do? Well, for sure, as the ball moves towards him, 3 yards out from goal, right in the middle of the 6-yard box, he makes that clear action to duck below the ball goes just over his head. And the ball finds the goal in the half of the 6-yard box where he is. Then the officials have to make a judgment. Did that clear action impact on Donnarumma, the goalkeeper, and his ability to save the ball? And that's where the subjectivity comes into play.
Okay, so that's what Howard Webb had to say on the reason that the officials came to that decision. And it was Michael Oliver who was VAR, his assistant VAR. The voices that you heard at Stockley Park there was Tim Wood. And it was Tim Wood really that sort of led the conversation by saying, I think it's offside. It's a clear, obvious action, which clearly impacts on the goalkeeper. And then Michael Oliver agreed and then relayed that to Chris Kavanagh. What did you make of that decision?
Well, firstly, the subjectivity that he's talking about, I mean, it's grey area, really. That's what he's saying. There's a grey area there. And I don't know, I'm still unsure whether this monthly chat with Michael Owen, where he explains rules, works or not. I'm not sure if it was his idea, the Premier League's idea, whoever's idea. Yeah, that's stranger, because you end up talking and you could get yourself, make it even more cloudy than it is. For me, when a back four squeeze, right, that's a coaching thing. Because you want to leave somebody in there who's offside. Right? Mm-hmm. That's one of the reasons. When you have a set play and it clears the 6-yard box, I would coach my team to get out of the box. Unless my tactic was have someone on the posts, which we don't see anymore, right? Mm-hmm. But that's another thing. So you clear the box. He's therefore, you have played tactically for him to be offside. And he's offside. Does he interfere with the goalkeeper? Well, he does duck. Does that... When you look at the goalkeeper, does he impeded by that duck? I don't think he is, actually. So that's the grey area. He does interfere with the flight of the ball because he ducks under it, which he does, but does it interfere with the actual fact the goalie getting to it? Not really. So I thought at the time, offside.
Okay.
That was, and I stand by that, and I think that was should have been the decision, and it was the decision. When they go back and Liverpool were quick, or the PR team were quick to acknowledge an incident that happened earlier where they talked about a goal that Manchester City got.
That's right, against Wolves, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Where but he actually interferes with the goalie a little bit.
Kind of barging
Still
into
doesn't
him,
get on it.
isn't
So, and I think that decision was wrong. So that's where I sit. But it is so, and surprisingly, Michael Owen thinks it was a goal. He's a Liverpool fan. I still think, forget about Liverpool fans because they all thought it should have stood. I'm pretty sure of that. I think a lot of football fans actually think it should have stood from other clubs as well.
I think you're right.
I think it's one of those. It's right down the middle.
But you mentioned it earlier on. It's the grey area. It's that corridor of subjectivity that could lean either way.
And it's like the handballs. We have the same issue of this grey area of his hand, was it a natural position? Well, actually, when you go to block, your hands are in unnatural positions. If I was to block a ball and I'm throwing my body, my hands go in strange positions. And then when it hits that hand, it's in an unnatural position. Well, have you ever had to play the game and try a block, Mr. Referee? So and then we get the head of the Referees Association talking about grey areas, going over the grey areas and trying to make sense of it. And I don't think that sounds good. That's why I doubt them. And there's one other thing I've got a problem with, which I've got to get off my chest.
Oh, go on. You've started.
When they're having that little chat on the pitch, the word mate just does not work for me.
Oh, I see. The referees when they're talking to each other.
Yeah, come on. When you're looking at, you're talking about the high echelon of the game here. And we're talking about professional people and stuff. I think you might have that wrong, mate. I think that, mate, you might want to look at that, mate. No. That's not a word that I think should be used.
Work out which ref that is. No, I know what you're saying. In the sense of professionalism, I can understand where you're coming from.
Yeah, I don't think they need to over talk it. They just need to sort of look at it, make the decision, and have clarity with what they're actually saying, because it sounds terrible to me. It doesn't sound, when I think about the professionalism that goes into a football match in terms of the organisation, the tactics, the meetings and everything else that a football team does, and then you hear referees talking like that, it does make you think,
Unfortunately, that was just one of those issues that whichever decision they would have come to would have infuriated one or the other, depending on which
and then,
the outcome
then there's another grey area as right, because I heard a lot of pundits say, well, if goals change games, which they do, of course. It changes the mood of the game. And then I've heard a lot of pundits, which I kind of, on the fence that I sit on, is that they had no chance of winning that game, Liverpool. Even if they scored that goal, there was nowhere near it. They were so off the pace that they would have got beat. And the manager shouldn't have highlighted that issue. It should have been a minor issue in his press conference. He should have faced the facts that they got well beat, and then as an offshoot of that, say, well, I actually thought our goal was good, rather than make it the main focal point, which seems to be a little bit of a trait with him just recently. Other teams, long balls, blah blah blah. Excuse. He needs to get away from that.
Well, after the break, maybe we'll talk a little bit more about Liverpool then, where you see they are at right now. Plus, of course, it's a year to the day, is it? Or no, a year. It's a year in charge for Ruben Amorim at Manchester United. We'll also get your thoughts. A year yesterday, in fact, it was his anniversary. So we'll also get your thoughts on Manchester United and whether or not we have seen some positivity now that he has been in charge for this year. Plenty more to come as well, right here on Kickoff. This is Kick-Off on talkSPORT with Alan Pardew and Natalie Sawyer. We're taking you through until 10. Then you've got Jamie O'Hara and Jason Cundy taking over with the Sports Bar and the American TV host Adam Richmond, who used to host Man vs. Food.
He's a good guy. I've met him a couple of times.
In the studio.
Oh, okay.
So he might be out there for all we know.
I could have given him some on a banoffee pie.
No, you're very kind.
That I brought in from the Heart restaurant in London, the best restaurant in London at the moment. Heart, Chilton Street. Thank you very much.
Tell you
Get
what,
that added.
If you like a banoffee pie, then head there because it is lush. I must say, it's very, very nice. Thank you for bringing that in. Should we quickly talk about Liverpool and how you see them right now? Because obviously they suffered yet another defeat last time around to Manchester City, as you pointed out, and they were probably comprehensively beaten. I think that's fair to say in the sense of performances from both sides. 5 league defeats already this season. They are 8 points currently off the leaders, Arsenal, and just in a very bizarre situation, one that they would not have anticipated. They're 8th in the table as well, although I will caveat it with very early in the season, and it's very tight in the table, even though I just mentioned they're 8 points off Arsenal.
I think it's, statistically, the worst performance from the champions other than Leicester City when they won it. So, it's given themselves a mountain to climb to actually win the competition. I'm talking about the Premier League. They come off the back of a very emotional, big night at Anfield against Real Madrid. And I think that did have some impact on the game. Obviously, Manchester City had game 2, but it wasn't of the same magnitude. I didn't think Real Madrid were very good, actually. And I think maybe Arne Slot was caught out by the magnificence, you have to say that, of Manchester City, which I think most... and I was too as a professional manager looking at them. They definitely went up a level, maybe 2 levels from the performances they'd put in previously. It was a real kind of like one team kind of, I wouldn't say not unprepared is not quite the term I need. Maybe slightly unfocused at the level of the opposition. And what I mean by that is the opposition had got themselves to a place where Liverpool just couldn't react to it. They couldn't get themselves back to the level that Man City were playing at, and therefore they suffered that defeats. But I don't see when I look at Liverpool, I don't know whether the fact that Arne Slot, when he inherited Klopp's team and won the league, whether there was a little bit of that loud music type of football that Klopp,
the rock and roll or heavy metal or whatever it was he used to refer to it as.
The heavy metal football that was going on in training. So you can't replicate the game unless you're doing it in training. So I can imagine the training ground was like full on when Klopp was there, and Arne Slot come in and brought some control to that. And everyone was talking about, and we was talking about it on our show, me and Madge on a Sunday, about Arne Slot's brought a control to the game. He's brought kind of like there's not this to and fro in that Klopp had at times. It's a controlled game, but they still had energy. And this year, they got the control in terms of their sound. They know what they're doing. They look like what they're doing, but there's no energy. There seems to be a lack of energy, defensively and offensively. And I think that is what would really worry me if I was Arne Slot. Where is that gone? Is it like, has it worn off from the training ground? Do we need to change the training ground environment a little bit? And maybe, the team had a little chit-chat amongst themselves to try and get themselves out of that rut. They still lost the next weekend after that chat. It is a concern. And all the changes and the big money moves coming in as people's noses been put out of joint.
Well, I was going to ask about that. Is that an element that we have to consider, that perhaps they are a little unsettled with some of these newcomers?
Well, I think certainly if I was left back and Kirkes coming in front of me on big money, on more money than I was, and didn't perform to the level you're at. See, this is always a problem in a squad. when you bring new players in, suddenly the salaries go up. When you bring in, when you're paying 100 million, you know that them salaries have moved. Have you moved with them? And that's a question that will be asked in the dressing room by some of the guys who have just won the league, by the way. And these guys are coming in on more money than us. I ain't seeing a lot at the moment. What's going on here? So there's a little bit of that, I think. And of course, although players say, and you hear and talkSPORT talk about it a lot, the players know what other players are on. They don't really. They don't know. They know roughly, but they don't know really. So it is a kind of one of those that can actually impact in the dressing room. I don't know if that a little bit of that's going on. A little bit of training ground in terms of the tempo. Maybe it dropped a little bit. And new players and everything else. And you put that all together, it's 5 defeats.
Yeah, and 7 losses in 10 when it comes to all competitions as well. I mean, they've lost, as we mentioned, 5 in the league, which is more than they lost in the entirety of last season as well, which I think was 4. Mo Salah is a player that they're not quite seeing the superhuman levels that we're more used to from him either. And you already touched on the summer signings. I mean, Hugo Ekitike started off really well, but he's slightly gone off it a little.
There was nowhere on the weekend, on Sunday. It wasn't, but no impact in the game at all.
It's like struggling to get the best out of those players.
Verts, no impact in the game at all. And you could argue Gravenbach, who's usually a brilliant player for Liverpool, was nowhere to be seen. So there's some big players missing. And as I say, the Real Madrid game, mentally and focus and everything else, and how big it is worldwide, you know, that would have been a bearing on the energy levels they had. Man City were like different class. And when you talk about Mo Salah, I felt a little bit sorry for him because I genuinely felt that it was like he was at it for a little period. But, you know, in terms of O'Reilly, just put an absolutely outstanding performance in against him. And I think he lost heart a little bit. I'm talking about Mo Salah here, in terms of like he didn't get nothing out of him, and then his defensive work went astray a little bit, and then suddenly we're all picking on him. This is one of the Premier League's great players, and I think, you know, he'll get his house in order. But at the moment, it's not just Mo Salah. There's a few of them who are looking below their best.
I mean, you know what it's like to work in the Premier League when you're having a stop-start to a season, because we've had 3 international breaks. That's going to change next season because the second international break is going to incorporate what would be the second and third into one.
Well, that will make sense.
So it'll be longer as a break, but you won't get a third one before the end of the year.
Good.
That doesn't help any team when you're trying to work things out, especially when you've got Liverpool players who are all in international duty. So Arne Slot's not able to work with his team during this international break.
No, that's right. He'll come back. You know, some of them will come back Friday. You know, and you might only have 24 hours or, you know, 30 hours, 36 hours with the 3 or 4 of the players who you want to start the game, because it's a big game at the weekend. It's
yeah, they've got Forest at home.
Yeah. But, you know, as much as the squad can do, they'll be at the training ground, but you've got such big holes, so many great players missing, it's difficult to do anything at the training ground. Mostly managers will go away and have a break, try and get themselves together. And that's another thing. You know, Arne Slot looks like to me he needs a break. He needs to go away on a nice yacht and have and look at his pina colada and go, wow, what's going on here? And try and find a solution. No, because as a manager, I'll say that as a half joke, but as a manager sometimes you can't see the wood for the trees because there's just so much going on. Sometimes you do need your own time.
But how can you switch off?
Yeah, you can. No, what I mean is you need thinking time.
Oh, I see. Okay.
Not switch off. You never switch off.
No, I was going to say.
But I mean proper thinking time, because when you go into a training ground, someone's knocking on your door. You know, this. The chef ain't turned up. Oh, blah, okay. Well, get the other chef. Get the one from the training ground. Oh, so-and-so. Oh, the sports scientist has not done the bottles properly. Right. Okay. Well, don't worry about it. There's always something.
And there's the media demands and everything else. Yeah.
You know, just a couple of little examples. But what I'm saying is sometimes, and this is a bit of advice to any manager out there, particularly young managers, Rob Edwards being one of them, take yourself away for a couple. Don't feel like you need to be there. don't feel you need to be at the football club. You obviously are working like your brain's like fully engaged, but you don't have to be present. You need to go away and think and find a solution. And Arne Slot, wow, he's got some real thinking time to decipher, because no one knows more than him. You know that. You know all that. I'm an ex-manager. I can only look from the outside. I don't know what's happening in the training ground. I don't know the relationships, the emotions that's going on in there. Is someone falling out with somebody, etc., etc. He does, and he needs to find the solutions.
Yeah, it's a change of scenery sometimes that you need, like you say.
Yeah,
that makes sense to me. In terms of games and points still left to play for, there are plenty. But obviously, as I've mentioned, they're already 8 points off Arsenal. They're in 8th. Can you see them clawing it back in any way?
Yeah, I can see them still making a concerted effort.
Okay.
It's just whether they've got whether that cushion that Arsenal's got with its strength in depth, and where they can cover for injuries, and Manchester City have got the same strength in depth, can bridge the gap back. That will be difficult, but it's possible. And obviously, we've still got Champions League, FA Cup, Carabao Cup still to come.
Well, they got knocked out in the League Cup, though, didn't they?
I wasn't talking about.
No, I'm just saying they got knocked out.
They have been knocked out. Yes.
Palace.
Palace, they love playing.
I thought you might like that.
Yeah, well, I do like
that. Right, we will take another break. When we return, we'll focus on Manchester United and also get Alan's take on his former club Newcastle too, and how much pressure Eddie Howe might be under as well. This is Kickoff.
Get in the ring to win on talkSPORT.
It is the fight everyone's talking about, and thanks to talkSPORT, it could be your weekend sorted. There's 1 day left for your chance to win 2 tickets to the huge Chris Eubank Jr. versus Conor Benn rematch live at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium this Saturday. You'll also enjoy a night in a 5-star London hotel and £5,000 spending money as well. It is the perfect weekend for you and whoever you take with you. Here is how you can enter.
18 plus, UK excluding Northern Ireland. For a chance to win, text the word BOX to 83338 and you're in the draw. Text costs £2 plus 1 standard network rate message. You must have the bill payer's permission, or you can enter for free by calling 0330 880 3338. All entries must be received by the 13th of November at 1 p.m. and you need to answer our call to win. This is a talkSPORT limited promotion. Full terms and conditions at talksport.com.
Good luck. Now, fresh off the back of the announcement that Rob Edwards has become the new Wolves manager, signing a 3.5-year contract, he has this evening put out a statement on Instagram. Because we haven't heard from him. With all of the announcements on the Wolves website, for example, there was actually no direct quotes, I think, from Rob Edwards. But this is what he's had to say. This has been one of the toughest decisions of my career. I wouldn't have considered leaving Middlesbrough for any other club. Wolves is a special club for me. It's where I grew as both a player and a coach. It's still when my family calls home. It has always been my dream to come back, and these opportunities do not come around too often. Middlesbrough is an incredible club with a fantastic owner, staff and passionate supporters. I want to thank everyone at the club for the opportunity to lead this squad. It is a great group of players that I genuinely hope and believe will deliver success this season. He says, I could not be prouder of the environment we built together and how it all gelled together so quickly. The players, the staff and the fans who drive it all. He says, I sincerely wish everyone at Middlesbrough all the very best for the rest of the season and beyond. So that's what Rob Edwards had to say. Just briefly on that.
Is that off his personal Instagram or the club's? Do we know?
His Instagram, I'm told.
Okay. Just the way, like, you know, the new kind of world is operating now. You know, the club, his first acknowledgement of the job is on his own personal Instagram.
Yeah, no, it's by all accounts it's on his personal one. Okay. You know what it's like to be in that position where you have a tie to a club like Crystal Palace. When you're at Newcastle, it sometimes is just too difficult a decision or to turn down, I guess, like it is in this case.
Well, it was different for me at Newcastle because at Newcastle, you know, it was getting to a point where the fans didn't seem to want to come back to me. Obviously, I had a couple of great years there, and then we struggled with the Europa League football. We had a difficult year, and it just seemed to fit everybody for me to move. So it wasn't so much an emotional pull. Gotcha. But this Wolves one definitely is on Rob's part. You can sense that in the way he's used those words. It's good that he got the owner in. That's very important. Of Wolves, what great he is. I just think that career-wise, it's a dangerous move because of the fact that he's got a relegation on his CV, and this could be a second one. Because at the moment, whether he knows something that I don't, in terms of maybe the transfer budget that he's going to get, he's got, you know, a really, really massive task to try and save them, which at the moment, with all the stats and all the history, would suggest that isn't going to happen.
Yeah, 2 points from their opening 11 games. It's a tough ask for him, certainly.
But it's a win for the club, massive win for the club, because when I was at the Fulham game, and the Wolves end was packed, by the way, packed with their fans, hoping that they could get a result against the Fulham, who were struggling, by the way, at the time. And that was funny, old season themselves. Their support was magnificent. At the end, they turned on the manager, but they turned on the owner too. It wasn't just the manager who was getting it. Now, when that happens, there's two things that you know is going to happen. One, the manager's going to go, and the next manager that comes in needs to appease those fans. And that's why Rob sits well.
Yeah, the boy coming home type thing. Yeah, I hear you.
Takes the heat right off the ownership.
Yeah.
To a degree.
I mentioned Newcastle. They're going through a bit of a funny spell themselves, having lost at the weekend 3-1 at Brentford. They find themselves in 14th, Alan. They are just 2 points off the relegation zone. How a concerning time do you think this is for Eddie Howe?
Well, no one would be more concerned than Eddie. I mean, I've seen like, oh, he's too nice, he's this, he's that. Eddie's got more about him than just being a nice guy. He knows how to manage football club. He's done a great job there. They've had resources that have improved the club no end. Forget about the signings, the training ground and everything is improved massively. So it's a club that's definitely going up the graph, and they find themselves for the first time for 2 or 3 years now on the way sliding, and that's uncomfortable, and the pressure is going to kick in. The football in Newcastle is religious. I mean, it's the only comparison you can make. It's a religion. It really is for the fans, and so they'll be scrutinising everything that happens there, and the pressure will really starts to kick in. I'm a great lover of Eddie Howe, and I hope he gets the results he needs. It's the away form that's a massive problem.
Haven't won yet.
No, and
in the league, yeah.
And that midfielder, Gamara's Joe Linton and Tonali, is one of the best midfields in the Premier League. I mean, I if you ask me which midfield three would I really, really want, that would be in there. Maybe Chelsea's is slightly better, but it's a fantastic midfield he has. I just think at the top of the pitch, the loss of Isaac now is kicking in a little bit, and Gordon's, doesn't seem to be in the form. Willett, sorry, who was terrific for them last year, is struggling a little bit. So, yeah, some issues there that need to be resolved. But they've got the man to do it, and I think Newcastle, one of those clubs as well. The fan base goes like that on a negative, and then suddenly, when they get a next home game, it goes through the roof, and the support is absolutely off the scale, and I hope that happens for them.
Well, it's only Manchester City at home after the international break, but it's very different at St James's Park, like you say, than it has been on the road for Newcastle this
the Man City won't be looking forward to that game.
No, and actually they've got Europe, obviously, that they're involved in right now with the Champions League, and doing pretty well in that as well.
Yeah, absolutely.
So it's just a matter of trying to fix it in the league and get themselves back up the table where they will hope that they shall finish. We didn't get a chance to talk about Manchester United after Ruben Amorim celebrated his anniversary of being in charge for over a year.
I was in charge of England for too long, you see. I kept trying to tell you that. Just give it 10 minutes. It was enough.
I tell you what, the people wanted more. That's what it was. They wanted more from you as the England gaffer. Okay. You did a very good job, but, you've moved on. Right, it's time for us to move on. Thank you, Alan.
Thank you, Natalie.
Fun, as
it's
always.
Been a pleasure. Yeah.
The Sports Bar is on the way next. Get your calls into Jamie O'Hara and Jason Cundy, 03717 223344.